Had a chance to knock Viola out early, didn't get the job done. Then in the 10th inning, Tom Bernansky, of course, with Herbeck on first base, a little two-out blooper that George Wright elected to try and go to second base with to get Bernansky, and Kent Herbeck, a very heads-up play, never hesitated going around third base when he saw the ball going to second. The relay throw from Toby just not in time, and of course the Rangers ended up being losers on that play. Consistently, and boy, you could just feel it during the ball game how much more confident Bobby Witt got with each successive strike that he threw and each successive strikeout.
Down in the press room a couple of hours ago, some of the Minnesota writers, senior observers of the game, were marveling at his slider last night. You just saw one of them right there. In the bullpen tonight, warming up for the start, Mickey Mailer, his third start of the season.
Mickey getting the opportunity because of the injury to Mike Mason. And interesting thing Mickey has said before, he likes to be in situations where he can start against a ball club that may be expecting him to throw a lot of breaking balls. He says when he does that, he tends to go out and throw more fastballs early in the ball game, try and get them off stride. And of course, Minnesota, a very good fastball hitting ball club, should be a good matchup.
In 4 innings of outstanding relief at Chicago last week, Mickey threw a fastball that he admitted was just about as well as he's ever thrown in the big leagues. On the other side, a former Ranger for the Twins, Mike Smithson, at 6'8". He can be a very imposing figure on the hill.
No secret about Mike. Good fastball, good hard slider, and if his control is good, he can be extremely difficult for right-handed hitters.
Rangers have some injuries. A different look in the lineup this evening. It's Texas and Minnesota from the Dome next. It's always comfortable inside the Dome. Weather-wise, it'll be the Rangers batting against Smithson this evening. Here is the starting lineup. Curtis Wilkerson starting. He's the shortstop. Gary Ward's batting second and left. Pete O'Brien back in the lineup at first base, and Pete Incaviglia is the DH. Ruben Sierra in the key number 5 spot this evening. George Wright's in center. Tom Pichurek is playing third. Toby Harrah is at second. And the start this evening behind the plate for Gino Petralli.
And defensively for the Minnesota Twins this evening, Billy Beane getting the start in left field. Kirby Puckett, the center fielder, and Tom Bernansky in right. Kent Herbeck, the first baseman. Steve Lombardozzi at second base. Greg Gagne, the shortstop. And Gary Gaetti at third base. Tim Launder behind the plate. And he will be handling Mike Smithson tonight. Mike, with a 1-2 mark against the Rangers last year, 3-3 lifetime. He will tie Frank Viola this evening for the league lead in starts, his 14th of the year. Mike is on a bit of a negative roll. He has lost his last 2 starts. Last win came against Milwaukee, a complete game victory here. That was on May 25th, a 4-3 score. Mike made 4 starts last year against the Rangers in going 1-2. And his last start, September the 16th, he had a no decision here. And then on September the 26th, he lost to Jose Guzman, even though he threw a 6-hitter. Jose shut them out by a score of 2-0. Well, big Mike Smithson on the mound at 6'8". As Bob mentioned, a very imposing figure, and he re-emphasizes that on many opportunities that he has to right-handed hitters by throwing inside. He is not at all shy about coming high and tight to a lot of right-handed hitters, and that has really made him an effective pitcher, Bob.
And Mr. John Shulock, who is calling the balls and strikes this evening, will have his eye on some of those insiders. Dan Morrison's at first, Jim McKean at second. Al Clark, who worked the plate last night, is at third. The Twins, with a win tonight, could get back to 500 here at home. They are 11 under 500 overall. The Rangers are a game over 500 on the road, going in with a record of 13-12. Ball game number 57 for the Rangers and 58 for the Twins. Curtis Wilkerson will bat from the left side. Leading off, the switch hitter is hitting .260 from the left side, .230 overall. And Curtis has been a hot hitter as of late. He's hitting .324 in his last 11 ball games, improving his average from 184 up to that .230. It's 12 for 37 over that stretch. Has his only career home run in this ballpark. First pitch swinging. And the first pitch thrown at 7:36 Minnesota time. It is 78 outside, 71 inside. A little muggy in Minneapolis today. Some afternoon rains, humidified things. 1-1. Smithson is 6'8", 215. If it's fair, it's good news for the Rangers down the left side, but it is fouled by a good 8 feet. It'll be 1-2. Coaching at third for Texas is Tim Foley. Art Howe, who is overseeing some of the action in the hotel weight room this morning, is over at first. A lot of the players have been working on the Nautilus and the weights while on the road to stay sharp. O'Brien and Sierra were there comparing weights with our producer Dave Burchett, who was pumping some iron. Fastball running outside, 2-2. Maybe they were lifting Dave. The count is even to the Ranger leadoff hitter. He did a good job of laying off a couple of pitches outside, 3-2. Curtis has pretty good speed. He hits from a wide open stance. Down the left side, this one is out of play. Rangers start the night 3 games up on the Royals and the Angels in the American League West. The Twins with the victory here last night, really a 2-game swing for them. They trail Bobby's team now by only 8.5 games. It looked like it might be 10.5 for a while when Texas took a 2-0 lead behind Mr. Witt in the 8th. Curtis getting around late, fouling it off. Did they have those orange catcher's gloves for the iridescent target when you were pitching?
Yeah, they had him, but it was kind of a waste of money for him to get one for me. I couldn't see him anyway, and couldn't even get one in close to him. What they needed was a wooden catcher's glove, because I always had a fastball that was attracted to wood.
I see. Up the middle, Curtis gets things off to a good start. Pretty good job of hitting. He laid off a couple of pitches where Smithson was biting at the outside corner. Then he fouled off a couple, and then he took him right up the middle. Curtis has stolen 4 this year and been caught 4 times. He's aboard.
It's nice to have a man on the ball club like Curtis Wilkerson when you have your leadoff man Oddibe McDowell unavailable for duty. Curtis getting the job done here in the opening frame.
Oddibe was out playing catch about a half hour ago with another injured player, Mike Mason, down the right field corner. Mike is nursing a pulled hamstring. Gary Ward hitting in the number 2 spot this evening. You know, I've heard hitters and catchers say they've had trouble picking up the ball here indoors. I didn't know that pitchers had trouble seeing the catcher's glove, and they had to paint the thing orange. Rangers are hitting .261. They've stolen 34 and been caught 36. Ward takes a fastball for a strike. Interesting to watch how right-handers like Gary will handle the big right-hander whipping sidearm off that hill.
And Mike Smithson, watching him now, is throwing more across his body. He's stepping more toward third base than he used to. He used to step primarily toward the plate, but he's a good 16, 18 inches across his body now.
Curtis has a relatively short lead with Herbeck holding. A long look by the pitcher, and that causes Ward to step out. Interesting analysis I heard from one baseball observer of Mike Smithson. Excuse me. They said his control was almost too good. Hitters were not intimidated by his size. When he let loose a little bit last year and threw a few more balls inside to some of those right-handers, it helped his cause. Big number 48 from Centerville, Tennessee, still lives there. Came up with the Rangers in '82, went 3-4 the following year, 10-14. 2 15-win seasons so far here in Minnesota. Off-speed pitch, Gary didn't get it, 0-2. All those arms and legs coming at you, then he takes the off-speed.
Very difficult for a hitter, especially a right-handed hitter, to pick the ball up. You mentioned the elbows and kneecaps coming at you, and of course Mike has that big long extension behind him, so the hitter doesn't see the ball until the very last second.
There's the inside fastball, an 0-2, and he just missed with it. Gary has 25 RBIs. He picked up 2 of them in the 8th inning last night on his looping triple to left center. That was to be the extent of the Rangers scoring. Smithson has had Herbeck scrambling for a couple of throws at first base. Minnesota got their team ERA under 5.00 last night. Both the Ranger runs were unearned. They went from 5.09 to 4.98. Off-speed pitch, 2-2. Smithson had an outing earlier this year where he hit 3 hitters in one game and was booted when he hit a guy. The third man he hit, but it was with a changeup. Now that's what you call being warned by an umpire and then being thrown out for a non-intentional brushback. Runners going inside, and Curtis has it stolen easily as the catcher, Tim Laudner, could not handle the pitch. For Curtis, number 5 of the year. For the Rangers, number 35.
And that is the first successful stolen base attempt in the last 7 by the Texas Ranger Ball Club. Curtis Wilkerson getting a good jump, and I don't think Tim Laudner would have had a chance even if he had come up with the ball cleanly.
And now that changes Gary Ward's role at the plate on 3-2. He'll try to push it to the right side somehow. Gets an outside pitch and pulls it to the left side. Curtis gets away from the third baseman, stays in the baseline. And the throw on to first. So a good scramble job by Curtis to stay in the baseline and elude the tag.
Curtis did a good job, and that is one of those plays where you see the third baseman going into the hole, and it's an instinctive reaction to make the good break toward third base. Curtis does a good job there. The line you see is the demarcation of the 3 feet inside the baseline the hitter has to work with. You have 3 feet on either side of the baseline, and that is the demarcating line for the inner marker.
He's at third with 1 out. Pete O'Brien, who didn't play last night, has a chance for his 30th RBI. Pitch was outside. Pete's hitting .289 with 6 homers. But he's been struggling in his last 5 games, 0 for 16, and is hitting .164 in his last 16 games. At the start of that stretch, he was hitting .341. This is a big bat the Rangers have got to have in that number 3 spot. Ball 3. Pete has worn out Smithson over the years. The last couple years anyway, hitting .545 against him. Green light on 3-0. Yes, sir. Outfield has Pete swung around to the right just a bit. The right fielder is straight away, but they have him, Herbie Puckett, toward right center and Billy Beane over toward left center. And there's the first walk of the ball game. So, like last night, the Rangers put a couple runners aboard in the very first inning. They couldn't score against Frank Viola until the 8th. And now they have first and third. And from the Minnesota standpoint, a good man up there for the double play ball, Pete Incaviglia. From the Rangers standpoint, a good RBI man with 31.
Very important here to cash in early, which the Rangers were not able to do last night. And both Mike Smithson and Frank Viola are the kinds of pitchers that if you let them off the hook early, they are going to be that much better later on.
After a ball game like last night, there's a lot of discussion. Well, that last play cost the Rangers the ball game. If the Rangers had scored some runs early, that ball game never would have reached the 10th inning. They had 2 runners aboard all over the place in the early innings. Pete is hitting .272. Smithson is very deliberate out there this evening. Tough night for Big Pete last night. In 4 trips, he struck out 3 times. He wore the 0 for 4 collar. He jammed him, and there is a similar swing to the one that hurt Pete up in Boston, or in Kansas City, rather. And that was the exact same kind of thing, Buzz. A high, tight fastball, and the knob of the bat got his knuckle. And he may be out for the evening.
Yeah, that is an instant replay, as you mentioned, of what happened in Kansas City. Bill Ziegler, the trainer, out there to attend to him. You can see where the tape is on that middle finger, but having the knob of that bat between the first and second finger, when Pete tries to check his swing, he's so strong and is generating so much velocity with that bat, the knob really puts a lot of pressure on that middle knuckle. It's the middle knuckle of the middle finger. Now watch how he starts the swing and then tries to stop. That is an awful lot of strength to stop a swing like that, and boy, the knob of that bat just digging into that middle knuckle.
The big question now is who will be the DH. The two left-handed hitters on the bench are both hurt, Darrell Porter and Oddibe McDowell. Remaining are Steve Buechele, Scott Fletcher, and Orlando Mercado.
And Bobby Valentine tonight now down to what amounts to a 21-man roster, because Darrell Porter is not available to catch. He can pinch hit. Oddibe McDowell is going to come out and become the DH. Oddibe still bothered by that right ankle, which he fouled a pitch off of in the last series in Arlington. And that's you can't afford to put Mercado in the ball game as a DH, because if something happens to Gino, you're out of catchers.
That's right.
This may be one of those evenings. We certainly hope nothing happens to Oddibe, but this could be the kind of evening where if you have to make a substitution, you might go ahead and not use the DH anymore. Allow the pitcher to hit just out of necessity. One more shot at it.
Tailing fastball. It looked like a very hittable pitch for Pete, and then when it tailed inside, it really made it tough on him. So Oddibe will hit with a batting mark of 273, 8 homers and 20 RBIs, nursing a sore ankle. He is the American League Player of the Week. Oddibe hit .417 last week. He went 10 for 24 from the 2nd of June till the 8th and had an on-base average of .500. But a night off for him would have been more welcome. Ground ball out of play to the right side, 1-2. And you have to wonder, Oddibe with the right ankle very heavily taped. Art House obviously taking some heat from the dugout about his defensive play. There's the right ankle that's heavily taped. You just have to wonder if Oddibe could beat out a ground ball that normally he would beat out, that would result in the RBI, but could turn into a double play here. Has to protect the plate on 1-2. Pete's at first, Curtis at third. 1 out in the first. Rangers trying for the lead. They've already lost Pete Incaviglia. Breaking ball right at the second baseman. Oddibe just can't run. 4-6-3. Smithson, with the help of the double play, ball out of the inning. A walk, a stolen base, and a hit. Rangers can't score. Twins up for the first time in a moment. Been a costly evening so far. Mickey Mailer to the hill to face these Twins. Kirby Puckett in center field, the number 3 hitting man in the league at .352. Mickey Hatcher's the DH. Ken Herbeck at first. Tom Brunansky's in right field. Gary Gaetti, the third baseman, and Tim Laudner is the catcher. Steve Lombardozzi is the second baseman. Billy Beane in left field, and Greg Gagne is the shortstop.
And the Ranger outfield has Gary Ward in left, George Wright in center, and Ruben Sierra in right field this evening. First baseman Pete O'Brien at second, Toby Harrah, Curtis Wilkerson the shortstop, Tom Paciorek getting the start at third base tonight, and behind the plate, Gino Petrale. Mickey Mailer goes to the mound, his third start of the year, 17th overall appearance. The 33-year-old left-hander, first 2 outings of the year were in the starting role, but then he worked exclusively in relief. His last appearance, the game that Bob alluded to in Chicago on June the 4th, 4 very good innings as Mailer picked up the save for Bobby Witt in a 5-2 win. He only gave up 1 hit and had a season-high 5 strikeouts. This is his first appearance, by the way, in his career against the Minnesota Twins.
And this is the man that Mickey considers the most important man to get out in the Twins starting lineup. Kirby's hitting .352. Number 1 hit man with 87 in the American League. Naylor said he would change speeds on Puckett, keep the ball down. That's what he did on the first pitch. 15 homers and 39 RBIs. Pretty good numbers for a leadoff man. There's the 1-0 pitch outside, 2-0. Mike Mason said to Mickey in the clubhouse, he said, I hope you get the runs I've been getting. He said, if you do, you'll be okay tonight. Mike has benefited from some good Ranger offense, but he's not starting tonight. Mickey Mailer is. There's the fastball, 2-1. Kirby Puckett, 5'8", 185 from Chicago. To the left side, Curtis has to hurry. All important first man erased. 6'3". They've got some aggressive guys batting first and second this evening. Kirby Puckett, followed by Mickey Hatcher, who's DHing. Hatcher with a mark of 257 and 7 RBIs. He entered the ball game last night in the 9th inning as a pinch hitter. You know, we don't think of Mickey Mailer as a fastball pitcher. But he told me that last year he was clocked in the 90s, low 90s. And I certainly think that some of those fastballs we saw in Chicago were certainly in that range.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Mickey, he still can reach back and get it up there in a hurry when he needs to.
Fly ball right side, looks to be twisting out of play. Pete O'Brien just out of room. Talking things over with Dan Morrison, the first base umpire. Pete says, I'll have some bubble gum and reach the next one. You know what Mickey did today? He went to the movies. He saw Cobra. So he's probably feeling pretty mean out there tonight. He said he likes to be alone on a day when he's starting, just kind of concentrate and keep to himself, not hang around the guys too much. Fly ball left side. And it is just out of play. Mickey does not eat meat on days when he starts. Has a real routine, although he hasn't started much. And he seems to like starting more than relieving. His big problem as a reliever the last couple of weeks was getting enough work because Greg Harris and Mitch Williams have been doing such a great job. The middle guys have not been pitching much. Another off-speed pitch, and Hatcher was way out ahead. 1-2 is the count. He fisted him. Curtis to his left. 2 ground balls.
Good pitch that time. Mailer had a very good series of pitches against Hatcher. The off-speed breaky ball really set up that fastball inside. And Curtis, of course, took care of it very easily. But you see a guy pull an off-speed pitch, foul, and the tendency would be to throw something even slower, see if you could get him. But Mailer had set it up just the other way and threw the good cut fastball inside.
Mickey was watching videotape in the clubhouse of this guy, Ken Hrbek, hitting. He said he would start him off with fastballs inside just to let Hrbek know that he had that capability. And then he'd try to get him on the outside part. That one was about where he wanted it, really. He doesn't want to put it out over the plate because it can end up in the upper deck in a hurry.
Hard part about pitching to Ken Hrbek inside is to get him to swing at a ball off the plate.
Well, he said first pitch or 2, and there's 2 of them. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Texas Rangers Baseball Network.
You're watching the Texas Rangers on KTVT Channel 11, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Right at O'Brien with a 1-hopper. And 3 ground balls. Mickey Mailer retiring. The Twins here in the first. Sierra, Wright, and Paciorek for the Rangers when they bat in the second in a moment. We are scoreless so far. This copyrighted sports broadcast is authorized under television rights granted by the Texas Rangers Baseball Club solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the written consent of the Texas Rangers Baseball Club and Gaylord Broadcasting is prohibited. We welcome you back to Minnesota. Ruben Sierra from the left side will lead off for the Rangers here in the second, followed by George Wright and Tom Paciorek against the big right-hander Mike Smithson, who is 5-5. Ruben is hitting 160 left-handed, 194 overall. He has home runs from each side of the plate, 2 of his 3 from the left side. Ruben uses one of his bats in the clubhouse to take the gloss, I guess you would say, off one of his other bats. He likes to rub those bats together right up around the trademark and the sweet spot, getting some of that new gloss off of there when they come from the manufacturer. I thought he was trying to start a fire in there when I first saw him. 2-0. Smithson walked O'Brien in the first inning, and now he's in danger of giving his second pass. Coming in, he had walked only 21 in 83 1/3 innings.
I would think the way Mike Smithson is throwing, he would have a very difficult time getting a pitch on the first base side of home plate. Whether it be to a right-hander or a left-hander, most of the pitches we have seen so far have been on the third base side of home plate.
How's that? Rookie hitting 194. Bobby gives him the green light on 3-0. Trying to make some things happen. He knows that Ruben can easily reach that right field porch out there. It's only 327 down the line. Got a fastball low and went after it. 3-2. 327 down the line, but then that wall juts straight out. It doesn't curve out like some of the big symmetrical parks, and it's only 350, 360 in the alleys until you reach center field when it's 408. Ken Hrbek will have a great career here in this ballpark from a power standpoint. Red Sox are losing again this evening. They've had some problems this week. Ruben Sierra pops one out of play to the left side. It's Toronto 3, Boston 1 in the 5th. Sellers against Cerruti. Dave Stieb beat the Red Sox last night up in Canada. Bankhead's getting a start for Kansas City tonight against Swift of Seattle. And there's the walk. Second straight inning now. The Rangers have put the leadoff man on. Walk number 2 issued by Smithson. The A's, or rather the Angels, are at Chicago again. Romantic this evening against Neil Allen. They, like the Royals, are 3 games back of the Rangers. And Chicago has the early lead, 3-0 in the 3rd. Good news. George is hitting 223. And I was talking to Mark Holtz down in Arlington, I guess homestand before last, and he said it's interesting. He and Eric Nadel on radio have done more scoreboard watching this year than probably last year the whole season, because the Rangers have been up near the top, and it's only natural to be concerned about what the other clubs are doing.
I've always felt that if you go out and win your ball game, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. You're going to be in first place if you started there.
That's right. You want to see some scoreboard watching, wait till around the middle of August or the 1st of September when the races are getting hot. Then you'll see the fans and the press and the players keeping their eye on those out-of-town scores all the time. George has both of his homers from the left side, 6 of his 7 RBIs. A very short lead for Sierra. Ruben has good speed. He's 0 for 1 in the stolen base department. Well, we hope the Ranger fans will get to experience some of that excitement later on, but that's still a long ways away. Up the middle. Second baseman knocks it down. Both runners are safe. It'll be an infield hit for George Wright as Lombardozzi went over to his right, got a piece of it. First and second, nobody out. You're looking right now at the highest rated defensive second baseman in the American League.
Well, the chopper, we talked last night about how bouncy this turf is. That's one of the problems. If that ball stays down, Lombardozzi has probably an easier play on the dive, but he not only had to dive and try and catch the ball, but gauge how high it was going to bounce on that hop that he got. And he did knock it down, but was not able to control it.
As Tom Paciorek steps to the plate, you can almost think what Bobby Valentine is thinking right now in terms of the ball club has to sooner or later start cashing in these opportunities. Failing to do so in the early innings last night cost them the ball game. You have an experienced hitter up there in Tom, who's hitting .298, and Bobby would like to get some help from the bottom of the order. Number 7 man up there now, Hera and Petralli to follow. Sierra and Wright have done their job by reaching here in the second. Breaking ball missing, 1-1. Mike Smithson, 15 and 14 last year. Look out, Tom. Runners were both going, and it hit the batter, and the bases are loaded. Paciorek saw the off-speed breaking pitch, Buzz, and didn't exactly dive to get out of the way, and the bases are loaded. Smart hitting by Tom Paciorek, and he held his ground.
Well, we had mentioned the difficulty Mike Smithson's having tonight getting the ball on the outer part of the plate to a right-hander. And that was a good case of it right there, because the breaking ball starting inside did not break at all. And I think Tom Paciorek felt that it was going to break back toward the plate a little bit, but it surprised him in that it stayed relatively straight.
The 8th hit batsman by Smithson on the year. You know, I talked about his being too precise as you see John Butcher warming up. Some folks felt his control was too good. Well, last year he cut loose a little bit, and he hit more runners, rather hitters, 15, which was half of the staff total. But at the same time, he also allowed about 10 fewer home runs last year, so hitters were not digging in on him. But now he has dug himself into a hole. Bases loaded, nobody out. Toby Hera with a great opportunity to add to his 18 RBIs. Fastball, low.
Oh, and this is where the Rangers really need to capitalize and have a big inning. We're not talking about just one run, or we're talking about 3 or 4 runs in this inning. And as a pitcher, you would be happy to get out of this bases loaded, no out situation with just 1 run allowed.
Twins want the double play ball. They'll concede the run. Toby takes a strike on the outside corner. Ruben Sierra, who walked, is at third. George Wright, who had the infield hit, is at second, and Tom Paciorek, who was hit, is at first. Right behind Kent Hrbek, who's actually playing in front of him. 1-1 pitch, high chopper, right side, it's just foul. Now that ball hit a foot or 2 foul, but I guarantee you when it crossed the bag, it was a lot closer to being a fair ball than when it came down. And that would have been an AstroTurf double for 2, maybe 3 runs.
Art Howe went over and immediately talked to Dan Morrison. And that ball hits about a foot foul, if that, and a good 10 feet beyond the bag at first. I'm not sure that if you were to calculate the angle that could have been a foul ball when it crossed the bag. I think that had to go over the bag.
Well, it sure was close when it came down. 1-2. Toby half swing up the middle. It'll be caught. And the runners all do a good alert job by holding where they are. Well, that hurts. Now, Gino Petralli, who starts seldom, will have a big opportunity here. Gino has no RBIs on the year. He's hitting .200. He came walking into the dugout this evening with 4 bats. He said, I hope I get to use each one of these one time. He said, I want 4 good at-bats out of this starting assignment tonight. He's a switch hitter. 5 for 25 left-handed. It's low. In his last hitting appearance on Sunday night, Gino grounded back to the pitcher in the 9th. And Ray Miller is coming out. Rocky going early. You know, a starting pitcher, Buzz, which you well know so well, does so much mental preparation, everything for a start. It's got to be tough to run into so much trouble in the early innings, although the ball game is still scoreless. But you work so hard to get ready, and then you get out there and things aren't going your way.
A lot of times you get yourself over ready mentally, and it's a little tough to settle down.
That's a fastball, 2-0.
I think that's one of the things you talk about, especially the good pitchers. If they're going to have problems, they usually have them early, and if you don't capitalize on them, all of a sudden they do settle down and get into a groove both mentally and physically and become very tough pitchers as the game wears on.
To the right side, foul. Gino became a switch hitter in 1980 in the Florida Instructional League. He had a bone bruise in his left hand, and so he was taking batting practice one day, and it was hurting him so badly that Dennis Menke, who was there at the time, said, why don't you turn around and hit a few right-handed? He was impressed with Gino's stroke, and he's been switch hitting ever since. That's a good fastball inside corner. 2-2. Gino is a natural left-handed hitter who throws right-handed. Said Bobby Doerr helped him out with his switch hitting as well in the Toronto organization. Got to make contact here. 3-2. Third base umpire Al Clark didn't even bother to call him safe on that check swing.
I always thought that was nice that the American League would give Al Clark a hat with his name on the top of it.
Al?
Yeah. It's kind of a nice touch.
It sure is. We're told it's pouring rain outside, but we don't care. Unless the roof falls in. Fastball up, high chopper. That'll score the run. It's booted. Everybody's safe, and the Rangers lead 1-0. Error on the second baseman. Only the 3rd error in 240 chances this year against Steve Lombardozzi.
A tough chance for Lombardozzi, that ball bouncing out in front of the plate. But, boy, on this artificial turf that it is so bouncy, you really have to charge the ball and not try and play a short hop. But Lombardozzi was in a position where he had to try and play the short hop. Just came up a little bit short with a glove, and it's going to be an error, and the run is across. And
Gino does get credit for the RBI. They ruled that it would not have been a double play ball, which would have ended the inning. The run would have scored, whether it had been gloved cleanly or not. Now, Curtis Wilkerson, behind in the count 0-1, could break this thing wide open. That was Gino's first RBI of the year. Pickoff move to third. George Wright back easily. Curtis has 5 RBIs on the year. He singled up the middle his first time. Fastball away. He tried to right it down the left side. 0-2.
That pickoff play at third is very difficult when you have a left-handed hitter up, because the timing is with the third baseman and the pitcher, and it's easier when the third baseman is closer to the bag. And when a right-handed hitter is at bat, he does not have to move as early. a left-handed hitter up, he's playing farther from the bag, and it's much easier to pick up his movement.
There's the alignment that illustrates Buzz's point, and Curtis strikes out. That's the first strikeout. It was a breaking ball away that came in, and Curtis couldn't get down to get it. And unless Gary Ward gets a 2-out hit here, a potential big inning will be just 1 run.
Well, Gary had that big 2-out triple last night that gave the Rangers their 2 runs, so maybe he can get the job done again.
Breaking ball down. Strike 1. Ward grounded to third his first time on a play that Curtis Wilkerson used to move over to third, eluding Gary Gaetti, who had to go to his left to make the play. Rangers stranded runners at first and third in the first. Bases loaded, 1 out here in the second with 1 run in. That's a pretty nasty fastball in the inside corner. His teammates call him Wardo. 0-2. He's in the hole. He's got to hit the ball somewhere. Unless it's that far outside, which is where Laudner was giving the target. Long second inning for Mike Smithson. That one ran too far inside. Smithson had the Twins' longest winning streak last year, 6 games from the end of June to the end of July. Off-speed pitch. There's the base hit up the middle. 2 runs will score as Paciorek comes to the plate. The other man on to third. Throw is high, and he is safe as Petralli gets in safely, and it's 3-0 as Gary Ward gets the big 2-out hit.
Well, that was the one the Rangers needed, and Gary Ward did a very good job of fighting off a pitch from Mike Smithson down and in. He lined it right back up the middle. Good movement on the fastball, but Gary Ward, of course, that inside-out stroke, and very effective there. Interesting play at third base as Kirby Puckett with that strong arm showed you. Not only was Petralli safe, but so was third base coach Tim Foley. He came sliding in right there. They're both safe.
Nice job, Tim. Pete O'Brien now, 3-0. That was a big hit early in the game. Maybe set the tone for the evening. As Buzz mentioned earlier, you let a guy off the ropes, he'll come back and knock you out. This will be a great time for Pete to bust out of it. Got a good swing at it. High and far out of play with home run distance down the left side. 1-1. It's good to see a guy like Gino Petralli get on base and do some running and get involved in the action. Hasn't played much. Breaking ball down and in. Gino's from Sacramento. Doing the catching this evening. Versatile guy, can play the infield as well. Fastball up. Pete said, hey, I'm ahead in the count. I'll take a rip at that one. Contact made. We might be looking at a 6-0 score. That one was up there.
That's not something you'll see Pete O'Brien doing very often. He is a much more selective hitter than that, and it may be an indication that Pete's pressing just a little bit.
2-2 now. Well hit to right center. This one may go. It is off the wall. 1 run is in. 2 runs will score. O'Brien will settle for the long single, and the Rangers lead 5-0. Big hit for O'Brien with 2 outs. Maybe the slump is over.
That's going to bring Ray Miller out, and that's going to have the hook for Mike Smithson. Mike just did not have his good control tonight, could not get the ball where he wanted to, and the Rangers, with 5 here in the second, have made him pay for it.
And we'll see who comes in to face ODB McDowell when we come back in a moment. Five-0 Rangers on the big swing by Pete O'Brien, and here it is.
And Budweiser is happy to congratulate Pete O'Brien on this near home run that turns into a long 2 RBI single. But it's a big blow in this ball game, and Pete, for all you do, this Bud's for you. A couple runs coming in to score. Gary Ward, Gino Petralli, and that may prove to be exactly what the doctor ordered for the Rangers.
ODB McDowell. 2 outs, 1 on. He's DHing with Incaviglia hurt. Fly ball left center. Billy Beane. We haven't seen many fly balls out to that part of the ballpark in the series so far. 9 men to the plate. Rangers score 5 on 3 hits, an error helped, and so did a hit batsman and a walk. 5-0 Texas after 1.5. The Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis, where it's 78 degrees outside and raining, 71 degrees inside and dripping.
Yeah, a little problem with the dome. It's dripping slightly onto the carpet. Nothing serious, though. We're not in danger of being rained out in here.
They won't cover the infield?
I don't think so.
Okay. I remember when the Astrodome first opened, the Cubs were playing there, and Leo DeRocher was mad because it was leaking and the scoreboard flashed. But Leo, if we didn't have a dome, we wouldn't be playing tonight. The lip went back to the dugout. Tom Bernansky. I'll tell you, we thought this guy had been around forever. The game note said this would be his 24,400th at-bat of his career. I didn't think he was that old. They added one too many zeros onto that. It's 2,440. There was a rain delay of 9 minutes here when the Angels were in town earlier this season. They finally found the bucket and resumed play. High and long to left center, but there's a lot of room out there. George Wright has plenty of it. 4 in a row retired by Mickey Mailer and Buzz. A point we talk about often after your team has given you some runs. Important to go out there and get that first hitter.
Very important, and right now Mickey's in a position where he can go out and go right after the hitters, trying to use an economy of pitches that will enable him to work longer in this ball game. But right now, a 1-2-3 inning for him would be very important, and for the ball club.
Gary Gaetti hitting .258. It's still early. Keep that in mind. This Minnesota team can hit, especially in this ballpark. They have a batting mark of .272 with 88 home runs. So 5 runs is not out of their reach by any means. Gaetti has hit 14 homers. Driven home 32. Pretty good hummer right there. Probably the best of the evening, as Mickey threw it right by him on a 2-0 count. Mickey lives down in San Antonio now. That one's out of play. Back to the right. Mickey is originally from Montgomery, Alabama. He's a switch hitter, but we never get to see that. I got to ask him about that sometime. Well hit to left center. Nobody will get this one. Hopping quickly to the wall. George Wright, a little trouble coming up with it, but it is a 1-out double off the bat of Gary Gaetti.
Now Mickey Mailer coming back with that fastball up and out over the plate, just above belt high, and Gaetti drilled it to the gap. I'm a little surprised that Gaetti did not try and go to third base when he saw George Wright bobble that ball with 1 out. You would like to get to third if at all possible, but he had chosen to stop at second base far too early, so he had no chance to put the speed on again and try for third.
Popped up right side. Room for Pete O'Brien. It came twisting back in, but just not enough. You might remember during last night's game, Mickey Mailer was doing some warming up in the late innings. Mickey said that Tom House wanted him to go out and just throw for 2 or 3 minutes. He had only thrown once since his outing at Chicago last week. Fouled, 0-2.
The way Tom House puts it, he wanted to have Mickey wake his arm up so that it didn't forget that it was supposed to work today, too.
Yeah, they're talking about the rain up there in the bullpen. The man nearest to us was the newest Ranger just up from Oklahoma City, Jeff Russell, right-hander, who was 4-1 with the 89ers. Off-speed pitch, see you later. First strikeout for Mr. Mailer.
A good backdoor breaking ball starting outside and coming in on Tim Laudner, catching the outside corner. And that is a difficult pitch after you've seen a couple of good fastballs not to give up on. And Tim Laudner not able to pull the trigger.
Steve Lombardozzi now with 2 outs and the man at second. But Charlie went down to get the fastball. Twins are trying to chip away with 1 run here in the second. Rangers hit him with a 5 spot on only 3 hits in the top of this inning. There's a strike right down the middle. Lombardozzi made only his 3rd error of the season in that inning. Breaking ball, delayed call, but yes, 1-2 from John Shulak. Mickey Mailer, 33 years of age. He'll be 34 on July the 3rd. Fastball, straight back. This is Mailer's 17th appearance overall, his 3rd start. Record of 0-1, but a good ERA of 2.94. Breaking ball, base hit, left field. Ward cannot charge it, and Minnesota has picked up that run. That was a hanging curveball.
Pretty good job of hitting that time by Lombardozzi. He got the breaking ball up in the strike zone from Mickey Mailer, but he waited very well on it. Saw him almost double clutch with that swing, and of course Gary Ward on this bouncy turf could not afford to charge that ball and let it get by him, not with a 5-0 and now 5-1 lead. Just play it for a single, give him the run, and hold the runner at first.
Lombardozzi there. And here's Billy Bean. Got around late. Billy Bean came over from the Mets organization. He lives out in California, born in Orlando. Played for Tidewater last year, the Mets AAA up in Norfolk, Virginia. Hit .284. 19 homers there. Then with the Mets, .250 in only 8 games. 8 at bats, 2 hits. He's had a lot of injuries this year. 0-2. Up the middle, Mailer gloves it, throws him out, preventing further damage here in the second. Minnesota picks up a run on the double by Gaetti. Lombardozzi's RBI base hit. That's their only 2 hits of the game so far. After 2, Rangers 5, Twins 1. Sunday, June 22nd, following the Ranger game with Oakland, it's the 20th anniversary celebration of the Hey Hey We're the Monkeys. They will perform along with the Grassroots, Gary Puckett, Nut Kirby, and the Union Gap, and Herman Sermitz. Tickets available at any Rainbow Ticketmaster or the Rangers ticket office. Boy, what a lineup that is. I know Buzz will want to be there. That's a Billy Beane fan. Billy came over from the Mets. Yeah, you have a lot of fans all over the country when you're 9 games out ahead, don't you? New York, what a start. Here's Ruben. Walked and scored in that second inning rally. He was the first hitter there, as he is here in the third. Lombardozzi has to wait for Herbeck to get to the bag and then throws him out. Well, we're getting to see both of the pitchers that went from Texas to Minnesota in that Gary Ward deal here early. Smithson and now Butcher. Butcher is from Glendale, California, 6'4", 190. 11-14 for the Twins last year in a starting role. Completed 8 games in 34 starts. George Wright had a base hit off the second baseman's glove in that second inning, elevating his average to 232. Hard hit, foul into the Ranger bullpen. Jeff Russell, Dale Mahorsic, Ricky Wright. Ricky, the pride of Paris, Texas. Breaking pitch down low, and Butcher has his first strikeout. Two up, two down very quickly. Here's Tom Paciorek, who was the third man to score in that inning. He was hit by a pitch to load the bases. Tom's hitting .298. Couldn't lay off the low outside breaking pitch. Looks like they should have started Butcher tonight, huh? Boy, he's looking tough.
Yeah, the fans in Texas remember John Butcher is always very good in the long relief role, which is, to my way of thinking, the most difficult role on the pitching staff. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to pitch, and usually coming into a ball game after some bad things have happened to your club early in the game.
1-2. Tom saw a pitch up and skied out to Kirby Puckett in center field. Easy inning for John Butcher in relief of Mike Smithson. For the Twins, it'll be Gagne, then the top of the order in the third when they bat trailing 5-1. Mickey Mailer against the shortstop Greg Gagne. And the Minnesota third is underway with a fastball low. Greg Gagne hitting .263 with 3 homers and 16 RBIs. .225 hitter here last year. Well hit, high in the air to left field. Going back is Gary Ward. Ball carries well in here. Mailer has retired the first man for the third straight inning. Mickey was excited about this starting opportunity this evening, said he's feeling good physically, and he said it's great to start again. He's been given 5 runs to work with. Here's Kirby Puckett, who he retired on a ground ball back in the first. As on that occasion, this time he starts him off with a breaking ball. fastball. Rides it to the right side. It is off the wall. It gets beyond Ruben Sierra, but he recovers in time. Kirby Puckett has a double. And that young man has tremendous power to the opposite field. We saw it last night. He used to hit nothing but balls to the right side. They got him to pull it more after spring training. You know, this wall here, Buzz, the ball just deadens off that canvas out there, so Ruben could afford to go all the way back to the wall and then let the carom come out in front of him, because it doesn't come out like it does off the monster in Fenway.
Yeah, the only problem was he got to the wall and did not play the carom, so it came down to his glove. He let it bounce off the track, and that's dangerous with a guy like Puckett who can run so well.
Mickey Hatcher fouls one back. You know, the Kirby Puckett thing was getting so much in spring training with him hitting the ball to nothing but the right side. The Twins were looking for somebody else to lead off. Not anymore. Kirby has a whole bunch of extra base hits this year. He's #1 in the American League. With that ball jacked off the right field wall, he now has 30 extra base hits on the year. Jose Canseco of Oakland is second with 28. Mattingly, Barfield with 27. Henderson and Bernansky with 26. Breaking ball, 1-2. Boy, it's not often you get a leadoff man who can run and who can hit for power. There's the little guy right there. But he is built so solidly and is very strong. Obviously pretty happy with the way he's playing. Base hit, right side. Charging is Ruben Sierra. They'll hold the runner as Ruben hits the cutoff man. Well, we warned you last inning that a 5-run lead in this ballpark is not insurmountable. Now the Twins, with one swing of the bat from this big man, could make it a very close ball game.
Now all of a sudden now you find yourself in a position where the tying run is in the on-deck circle, and the Twins, as you mentioned, Bob, very capable of scoring a lot of runs quickly.
Dale Mahorsik is heating up in the Ranger bullpen. Well, Mickey Mailer's been presented with 5 runs to work with, and you hope that Bobby Valentine will not have to dip into the bullpen here in the early innings like Ray Miller has had to. Herbeck grounded to O'Brien his first time. Rangers will concede another run for the chance at the double play grounder. Fastball low. Ken Herbeck, 36 RBIs, an on-base average of 409, which is #5 in the American League. He had 10 hits in his last 4 games coming into this one. 10 for 15, now 10 for 16. With him being retired to end the first inning. Lansford has hit a home run. Oakland leading at Cleveland 6-5 in the 7th. On Taveros against Candiotti in that one. Off speed pitch, a little bit high. A's are 7 back to the Rangers coming in. White Sox 7.5 back. Twins 8.5. Seattle 11 out. Base hit. 5-2. Runners will hold at first and second. Ball hit like a bullet through the right side. RBI number 37 for Ken Herbeck.
3rd consecutive hit now for the Twins, and this a fastball up and out over the plate. That is a spot that Ken Herbeck would like to have people throw him all day long. He's just going to wear that pitch out.
Mickey Mailer is really eyeing Bobby Valentine as he comes out to the mound. Mickey obviously amused by something the manager said. Meanwhile, Dale Mahorsik is still heating up for a possible early inning appearance here. Right-handed hitters coming up. Bernansky is next. This is a guy that Mickey probably has to retire to stay in the ballgame. Tying run is at the plate. 5 Minnesota hits now. They've out-hit the Rangers 5-4. Bernansky flied to center his first time. Mickey needs the old two-hopper right at Curtis Artobi. Long way for George Wright to come. Sierra is there as well helping out, but George grabs it. 2 down. And that's a case of a hitter maybe helping out the pitcher a bit, Buzz.
Looked like that pitch was up and out of the strike zone, and then Bernansky, a good fastball hitter, but could not get on top of that pitch.
Swinging at the first one. Second out. Here's Gaetti, who doubled to the gap in left center. Later scored on Lombardozzi's single in the second. These Twins can throw some bats at you. They've got some big production from the middle of the lineup, as Steve alluded to last night. Rice and Baylor have hit homers for the Red Sox. They've gotten back even in the 7th at Toronto, 3-3. Steve will update all the baseball for us in the next inning or so. Gary Ward, can he reach it? No. Over the wall, a run scores, and it's 5-3 on a ringing double by Gary Gaetti. May have been a break for the Rangers. If that ball stays in play, the other runner, Herbeck, may have had a chance to score.
You're right, Bob. I don't think there's any doubt about it. That ball getting out of the ballpark after the first bounce saved the Rangers a run here. Again, the high fastball. This time, Gaetti able to get on top of it. And the line drive hooking away from Gary Ward. That first big hop. Look how long that hop was. It's going to be a 30-foot bounce.
Hit right on top of the plexiglass. Now the tying run is at second. 5-3. A run in the second for the Twins and 2 here in the third. And Tim Laudner is the hitter. He's the catcher. Fastball missing high and away. At third is Kent Herbeck. Gary Gaetti is at second. Tom Kelly is the third base coach, number 41. 2-0. A left-hander is up now in the Ranger bullpen. Joining Mahorsik to your right is Ricky Wright. Mickey Mailer on the ropes here in the third. Ball 3. On deck is the Minnesota second baseman, Steve Lombardozzi. Green light on 3-0. It's going to be a tie game. Two RBIs for the Minnesota catcher, Tim Laudner, his 13th and 14th of the year. A 3-0 fastball up.
Not much that Mickey Mailer can do when he gets behind 3-0. You've got to come in there with that fastball. And, of course, Ray Miller giving Laudner the green light. And Bobby Valentine coming out. He's going to take Mickey Mailer back to the dugout with him.
Ricky Wright gets the call. We'll be back from Minnesota, where it's now 5-5. This one is now in the hands of Ricky Wright. Mickey Mailer lasting only 2 2/3, giving up to this point 5 runs, 7 hits, no walks, 1 strikeout. He's responsible for the man at first, and the hitter is Lombardozzi. 4 runs in the inning on 5 hits. Ricky Wright is making his 17th appearance. He has struck out 18, walked 16 in 32 2/3 innings, and that's 2-0. Wright has started 1 game this year. Ripping on 2-0, Lombardozzi fouls him. So we're into the bullpens here early. Rangers bullpen this year has won 10 ball games and saved 12. Minnesota really had a lot of problems with their pen early in the season. They've only had 5 wins and 4 saves out of their relief corps, and here they are in game 58 of the season.
The save that Frank Pastore had the other day in against Kansas City was their first one in a month. That's a long time between saves.
Last year their starting pitching fell apart on them. 3-1. And as you said last night, a manager like Ray Miller, an outstanding pitching coach for years in the Baltimore organization, had to really feel the effects of that. Right now it's the Ranger bullpen trying to snuff out the Twins here in the 3rd. First and second, 2 outs. And Billy Beane is the 9th man to bat in the inning. Weekly hit up the middle, off the fist. Curtis will have to go to second. Save. Bases loaded. He probably made the right choice. A long throw to first probably would not have been in time either. Infield hit.
Beane got fisted very nicely by Ricky Wright. I think Curtis might have made his mind up a little too quickly. You have to remember, playing on artificial turf, even a weakly hit ball like that still gets to the infielder more quickly. There was no chance. If you have just a runner on first base, you might have a chance at the force at second, but with a runner at first and second, guy on first has a much bigger lead, so he's going to get to second more quickly.
10th man to bat in the inning is Gagne, who led off by flying out to left field. So 7 of their last 8 hitters have reached safely. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Now it's 0-2. Ricky Wright from Paris, Texas. 5-4 at Oklahoma City last year. He's 27 years old. 0-2 the count. Breaking ball. Petrelli went sliding over to get his body in front of it. The OU station break. If the inning doesn't end here, we'll give it to you. Out of play to the right side. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Texas Rangers Baseball Network.
You're watching the Texas Rangers on KTVT Channel 11, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Long, long third inning. Minnesota with 6 hits and a walk. 4 runs in the frame. The bases loaded. Got a piece of it. Rickey stands 6'3", 175. James Richard Wright. Born, raised, still lives and never will leave Paris, Texas. 1-2. Ed Gagney's hanging tough. Too far inside. 2-2. Rickey rather fidgety out there, trying to get a good foothold against the rubber. Working off the stretch with the bases loaded. Grounder, left side, over to get it. Paciorek on to second, and Toby had to make a good play. He was playing the hitter to the right side. Toby had a long way to go to get to the bag, but Gagney makes the first and last outs of the inning. Minnesota scores 4. Frustrating loss last night. Big league vanishing here tonight. It's 5-5 after 3. Welcome back to Minnesota. Offensive show, unlike last night when we had a pitcher's duel. Toby Harrah made a pretty good play a moment ago to grab a wide throw from Tom Paciorek in full steam on his way to the bag. Now you kind of focus in on Butcher, who has really come in to stop the Rangers in relief of Smithson. John Butcher is a finesse pitcher. Toby's 0-2 in the count. Up the middle, shortstop to his left. Right there is Gagney. Had him played perfectly. 5 Rangers in a row retired. All 5 that have faced John Butcher. Game of momentum, Buzz. Swung back the other way now.
Well, we talked about how quickly the Twins can score, and they certainly did. Mickey Naylor going out and making a couple of mistakes that cost him, and then all of a sudden the Twins got on a roll, and that spelled the end of the evening for Mickey.
Gino Petralli swings a 34-inch, 32-ounce bat. Getting around late, out of play to the left side. Gino was talking about how difficult it is to see the ball here. They used to have a different configuration for the bullpens than they do now. He was warming up Dave Stieb here one night. Stieb threw a slider. That's 1-2. The first feeling Gino had for the pitch was when it hit square on his knee guard. Put the glove up right in front of him, never saw the pitch, and it broke outside, hit him in the right knee. Chopper to the right side, going foul. Pete Incaviglia, negative x-rays, which is good news. He will wear a protective splint on that strained ligament in his middle finger, which he hurt in the first inning here this evening. So good news among the bad. Tried to buzz him inside, 2-2. Well, Steve appears to be warming up a little now. Once he won 2 of his last 3 starts now.
Yep.
Winner last night. Those Blue Jays are going to make some noise in the East before it's all over. They're just too good of a team to be where they have been in the standings. Count is full to Gino Petralli. Fastball, base hit, right by Hrbek. Petralli aboard with 1 out. For Gino, his 7th hit of the year and his 6th from the left side.
Gino got that 3-2 fastball from Butcher up and out over the plate and really lashed it to left field. Tailing back in over the middle part of the plate and right by the lunging Kent Hrbek.
Gino's aboard with 1 out. There's a bunt, but it's going to die as Curtis put it down in the dirt. And then it squibbed foul. Curtis Wilkerson. Still living up in Virginia. 244 for the Rangers a year ago with 14 stolen bases. Second baseman has to back up. Nasty hop. No chance for the runner at first as Petralli went after Gagne. Lombardozzi had to back up, and that ball really took a big hop on him. 2 down.
Good job by Gino Petralli, too, getting down to make sure that Greg Gagne had no chance to turn this double play. That's one of the disadvantages, I guess, of playing on the turf, the spongy bounce. And Ray Miller is going to go out and talk to second base umpire Jim McKean about where Gino Petralli slid into second base. Of course, this rule has been in the books since 1977. Theoretically, you're supposed to slide at the bag and end up to where you can reach over and touch the bag. That was a questionable slide, I think you could say.
Gary Ward will hit with 2 outs and a man at first. Fastball is upstairs. Well, Gary had a big hit in the second that made everybody in the Ranger camp feel good. Made it 3-0, and then Pete O'Brien followed with a 2-run base hit of his own. Rangers once led 5-0. It's now 5-5. Runner going. Got around late, back to the screen. 1-1. Curtis has good speed, and on a hit like that would not be right at one of the outfielders, he could conceivably come around and give the Rangers the lead. Ward has 4 RBIs in 2 ball games here. He's up to 27 on the season. Runner holding. Well hit down the right field line. Twisting. It is just foul. Busy man, Curtis. Ran to first base on a bunt that went foul. Hit and run, went to second. On that one was well around second base.
Getting his wind sprints in.
He'll be one of the late arrivals at the ballpark tomorrow. 1-2. No, he won't. Curtis will be here with the rest of them. He's a delightful guy. And he's battled through some adversity this season. He's had a couple of embarrassing moments out there, and he's kept his chin up. Bouncer to the left side. Gaetti on to second for the force. 5-4. Rangers are gone in the 4th. A base hit by Petralli wasted. One left. They've left 3. After 3 1/2, 5-5. Bottom of the 4th coming up for the Twins. Top of the order. Yes, there is a Ranger fan. He needs to dye the bill of that cap blue, though. He's out of date. The old red and blue is gone. It's all blue now. Kirby Puckett is 1 for 2. He got all the fun started for Minnesota in the 3rd with a 1-out double off the right center field wall. His 30th extra base hit of the year, number 1 in the American League. Ricky Wright promptly comes inside on him. Problem is, Buzz, the way he's approaching hitting now, you can't get away with something inside if it's a strike, because he'll turn on it and whack it down the left field line.
He will take a couple of pitches during his first 2 at-bats and turn on them for the express purpose of showing the pitchers that no longer can you exclusively work him inside. And it has been very effective. If the pitcher makes a mistake out over the plate trying to come inside, he is prone to hit the ball into the left field seats. That's why his home run total is so high this year.
High chopper. Tough one to throw out here. Harris got to hurry, and he got in. Kirby Puckett's had a few hits like that this year, too. Those high choppers hitting near the plate.
There's nothing that Toby Harrah can do. Just wait for the ball to come down and try to unload it as quickly as possible. And Puckett, with that outstanding speed, almost beat that out, but just by about a quarter of a step was Toby able to nail him at first.
Nice job. Mickey Hatcher's 1 for 2. He scored a run. Breaking ball is low. Another chopper. This one foul to the right side. Mickey Hatcher is a real crowd favorite here. Howard Fox, the Twins president, made a lot of appearances over the offseason. Said he found out how popular he was because every place he went, fans wanted to know why Mickey wasn't playing more. That's 2 outs. Kent Hrbek. He reported at camp this year weighing 250, 15 pounds over last year's playing weight. But nobody was concerned about that because Kent was working with weights more than he ever had during his career. And you look at a guy of his size to begin with, which is 6'4", 235. He gets down in that crouch, and he just uncoils. And last time up, we saw him get a pitch out over the plate in that wide open stance, Buzz, and just pull it right through the right side.
That's just exactly what Kent Hrbek needs to do, work with weights and get stronger.
Yeah. They had the shift on, and he still beat the Rangers up the middle. This guy is on a tear. He is now 12 for his last 18, which is a .667 clip.
Good compact stroke of Kent Hrbek. Notice where he hit that ball back over the plate. He gets the barrel of the bat out a little bit. That's pulled to right field with authority. But Ricky Wright had enough on the fastball to get it at least that far.
Another tough hitter here, Tom Brunansky. Flied out twice to center. This time he took the first pitch after first pitch swinging last time up. July 15th, 1985, he won the home run hitting contest here at the Metrodome in conjunction with the All-Star game. And with a little help from the pitcher's mound, the Rangers get a ground ball to retire the Twins in the 4th. A runner left. They have stranded 5. It's 5-5 after 4. I'd like to recognize KASK TV, Las Cruces, New Mexico, on our Ranger Network. Logan Matthews, the manager there. We'd like to thank KASK for bringing Ranger baseball to the folks in Las Cruces. That's where the Aggies are from, New Mexico State. Here's Steve Busby. Pete O'Brien leading off the fifth.
Thank you, Bob. Pete O'Brien tonight, a perfect night. He is 1 out of 1. He's walked, and he's also had a 2 RBI single. So Pete, after that 0 for 16 slump, has broken out of it well tonight. He now has 31 RBIs on the year. Pete came within about 2 feet of getting the ball over that canvas in right field back in the second inning. Turned into about a 370-foot single. But still 2 RBIs. I'm sure Pete will take that. John Butcher has done a very good job since coming on for Mike Smithson back in the second. Butcher has allowed just 1 hit. Pop foul down the third base side. Long run for Bean. He gets there. Did he make the catch? He did. Billy Bean, playing over in almost left center field, had a long, long way to go, and that ball appeared to be slicing toward the stands. Bean fighting the bullpen area. Nice catch.
You saw him look up to see where he was in relation to the wall.
One of the difficult things an outfielder has, especially going into foul territory at full speed, is you cannot tell the difference very well between where the warning track begins and the turf ends. The feeling is just not that much different, but Bean did a good job there. So 1 out. Now Oddibe McDowell, the designated hitter. Oddibe 0 for 2 since taking over for Pete Incaviglia, who injured himself his first time at bat. Pops this one up. First base side, and it'll be back about 10 rows.
There's more room down the left side in this ballpark than there is on the right side. Down the right field line, the wall just angles straight toward the corner, but on the left side, it curves toward the corner, as you can see, and thus, when you get down to the deep part, there's more room to work with than there is right there. Always helps to know your home ballpark. That's one of the advantages of playing 81 times a year in one place.
All the corners, angles, and bounces. Oddibe, no contact there. Well, very quickly, 1-2. There's the device that trainer Bill Ziegler and Oddibe have come up with to protect that right ankle. Oddibe fouled one off that ankle a couple of nights ago, and it was a very, very painful injury. Oddibe said he thought he had broken it when it first happened. It swelled up very quickly, but of course x-rays were negative, and he came back and was able to do a little bit of working out the last couple of days. Still cannot run at full speed. Not well enough to play the outfield yet. That's downstairs. 3-2 now.
Similar to Mark Salas of the Twins and what he's wearing on his foot. He has an injured toe. He's wearing a baseball shoe that has a steel toe, and then he's wearing a similar apparatus on top of it to protect the rest of the foot.
Payoff pitch from Butcher, grounded to the right side. Lombardozzi got the big hop. 2 gone. Yeah, Salas had there's the shoes of Mark Salas.
Right on that right foot, which is the one closer to you. That is a steel plate that he's pointing to. And he took batting practice tonight for just the second time since that injury. Salas came up through the St. Louis organization and is very happy to be here in Minnesota. He's done a good job.
2 outs now to Ruben Sierra, who is 0 for 1. He did walk and score in the second inning and grounded out in the third. Ruben hitting at 189 on the year. He is only 1 for his last 18 times at bat. Butcher's pitch down and away. It's 1-1. Ruben came into the game as a 160 hitter from the left side. Palm ball by Butcher, and it's 1-2.
I saw a very interesting statistic on Mark Salas last year. When he hit 300, he was the first Twins catcher to do that and play at least half of their games since Earl Batty in 1961. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is, as a matter of fact. Inside 2-2. John Butcher, a good sinker. Will throw an occasional breaking ball, and he has that very good palm ball as a changeup. And that's going to be a very easy 1-2-3 inning as Lombardozzi throws out Ruben Sierra. Nothing going for the Rangers in the top of the 5th, halfway through the ball game. A 5-5 tie, Rangers and Twins.
Real good humor.
Well, Steve Busby, Bob Carpenter, happy to have you with us tonight from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. A 5-5 ball game. Rangers had a 5-0 lead at one time, but these explosive Twins have come back.
And they've done it really without the long ball. They have gotten a lot of hits put together, Steve, and that's something they don't always do, but they sure can hit here in the Metrodome.
It's an interesting place to play, to say the least. A lot of things can happen up here. Bottom of the 5th, it will be Gaetti, Laudner, and Lombardozzi to face Ricky Wright. Rangers have not found a way to retire Gary Gaetti this evening. He has had 2 doubles, an RBI, and he has scored 2 runs. Gaetti currently hitting at .265. 2-0. Gaetti in the 2nd inning doubled to left center field with 1 out, then came around to score on Lombardozzi's single. And in the 3rd, hit that ground rule double, bouncing down the line and into the stands past Gary Ward. Had an RBI on that, and he came in to score. Tim Laudner's single plated Gaetti. High fastball, and boy, he had a rip at that. 2-1 the count. Rangers 5 runs on 5 hits and no errors. Minnesota 5 runs on 9 hits and 1 error. Ricky Wright replaced Mickey Naylor, the starter, in the 3rd inning. 3-1. Infield and outfield. Playing Gaetti slightly to pull. And he chops one toward 3rd. Nice play by Tom Paciorek. 1 gone. Well, you know, it doesn't... I don't know if they put some kind of sponge in the dirt or not, but you get high bounces no matter where the ball hits here, whether it be on the dirt or the turf.
Some AstroTurf surfaces are basically laid right on top of asphalt, which accounts for the bounciness. In some of the outdoor ballparks, they put an additional padding in between the asphalt and the turf simply because of the heat, which becomes unbearable in July and August. They don't have to worry about that in here, so it is a very hard surface.
Laudner skies 1 foul and out of play. Down the right field line, it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Tim Laudner, 2 RBIs on the 3rd inning signal. He has also struck out this evening. Yeah, that in Kansas City, the first couple of years, we had that problem with the heat. Guys that play in the infield and outfield would have to come in and soak their feet, their cleats actually, in boxes of ice because, of course, with the metal cleats, they were very good heat conductor. They'd have to come in after a long inning and they have some burned puppies. That's fouled out of play, 1-2.
I think the original artificial turf in the Astrodome was laid on top of dirt, and it wasn't as uniform as they would like it to be, and that's when they started thinking about asphalt. That's when the players started getting toasted Tootsies.
1 out and a 1-2 count to Tim Laudner. Ricky Wright. Back to him. Line drive, base hit center field. So Tim Laudner has his 2nd hit of the night, the 10th hit for the Minnesota Twins. And that will bring up Steve Lombardozzi. That is the 3rd base hit allowed by Ricky Wright this evening. Lombardozzi 1 for 1, 2nd inning single and an RBI, which accounted for the first Twins run. And then he had a walk in the 3rd inning. So Lombardozzi hitting at .268 now has 21 RBIs on the year to go along with his 6 home runs. First pitch missing, 1-0. 12,084 on hand at the Metrodome this evening. Considering the weather outside, probably much happier to be in here. There have been off and on thunder showers all night. Matter of fact, we had a pretty good downpour this afternoon about 2 o'clock. A 1-0 pitch. Got him on the fifth. A little blooper will drop in left center field. Laudner will stop at second base as Gary Ward coming up with the ball very quickly. But the Twins with back-to-back singles now. Runners at first and second with just one out for Billy Beane. And we're going to get some more action now in the Ranger bullpen.
Orlando Mercado thought he was getting a night off. Been warming up pitchers for a while. Dale Mahorsik, who was up early in the game, is back up.
A little conference at the mound. Pete O'Brien, Gino Petrelli, and Ricky Wright discussing matters. 1 out, 2 on. Here in the bottom of the fifth inning, a 5-5 ball game. Beane tonight is 1 out of 2. He had a third inning single. That coming off of Ricky Wright. So Ricky looking for the double play ball here. Beane hitting at 172. A home run, 5 RBIs. Now facing right for the second time this evening. Good breaking ball, and Beane over the top of it, strike one. Beane appearing in his 27th ball game. Ricky Wright back to him. 1-1. Wright set to go, and he misses. No, he didn't miss. Delayed call by John Shulock. Oh, it's 1-2, and John Shulock, not the favorite person in the Metrodome right here at this moment. Fans kind of giving him the Bronx cheer. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him swinging. First strikeout of the night for Ricky Wright. Gets Billy Beane on that good breaking ball. 2 outs now. Runners still at first and second for Greg Gagne. Gagne 0 for 2. He has popped out and grounded into a fielder's choice. Gagne 0 for 4 in last night's ball game, so 0 for 6 at this point in the series. Good pitch from Ricky Wright, strike one. Tim Laudner, the runner at second base, and Steve Lombardozzi at first. They had back-to-back 1-out singles. But after the strikeout of Beane, they have stayed put now with 2 outs. Ricky Wright missing upstairs. It is 1-1. That's outside, and now Ricky's falling behind. 2 balls and a strike to Gagne. Greg currently hitting at 260. 3 home runs, 16 RBIs. Right set for the 2-1 pitch. Pop foul and out of play. 2-2. Chicago, a 5-2 lead over the California Angels at Comiskey Park. That ball game in the 6th inning.
Royals are delayed by rain at home against Seattle. According to the report we had, that game should be starting right about now. They were shooting for 9:30.
That will be Swift and Bankhead principals in that ball game once it gets underway. Right here, a 2-2 count, 2 outs, 2 on. Got him swinging. And Gagne down on strikes, 2 straight strikeouts for Ricky Wright. So the back-to-back 1-out singles, no problem here. We've finished 5 at the Metrodome. It's a 5-5 tie. Guests appearing on the Texas Rangers Network receive a Seiko watch from Gordon's Jewelers, featuring Seiko's winning combination of quartz accuracy and unique styling. Man invented time, and Seiko perfected it. Gordon's Jewelers, where love is in the air. Set to go to the 6th inning, a 5-5 ball game. George Wright to lead it off, and back with the play-by-play, Bob Carpenter.
Thank you, Steve. George is 1 for 2 on the night. He singled, scored, and struck out. Base hit by Gino Petralli in the 4th is the first one the Rangers have had in a while. George adds to it. He's trying to stretch it. We have a play, and he is in there. An AstroTurf double for George Wright. Petralli's base hit in the 4th was the first hit the Rangers had had since the 4-run second, the 5-run second. And now Wright with a base hit and alert base running give the Rangers a good start here in the 6th.
Excellent play by George Wright. As soon as he saw Billy Beane begin to retreat on that ball, George, never hesitating, going around first, steaming into second base. And you get a leadoff shot like that to advance to second base, you have to try it, especially in a 5-5 ball game. That's a heads-up base running play.
Against a pitcher who's looked very tough. Paciorek takes a breaking ball low and away. Steve will update the American League for us during this inning. Tom has been hit by a pitch, scored a run, and fly to center. Ground ball, base hit left side. George had to go back to the bag, made sure it got through, and then he went on to third. First and third, nobody out. Now we'll see that Minnesota bullpen start to stir.
Another good play by George Wright, touching on his base running ability. His first instinct was to go back to second base, which was the right one, and that takes a lot of discipline. You have to be thinking way ahead. That ball being grounded through the hole. If the shortstop goes over and makes a great play, he might not be able to throw the hitter out, but a base running mistake there costs you an out at third base.
Here's Toby, 0 for 2. Chance to take the lead. This will put the Rangers in the lead and maybe more. It is in the gap. It is up against the wall. It'll be at least runners at second and third. They'll hold them there on a none-out double by Toby Harrah. Wright scoring easily. Paciorek to third, and Toby has RBI number 19.
Excellent piece of hitting there by Toby Harrah. He had an idea what to look for first pitch going up there. He got it and drove it to the gap in right center field. So he gets the RBI as George Wright comes in to score. Fastball out over the plate, tailing back toward the middle. And Toby Harrah never even thought about pulling that ball. He was going to the right side the whole way. Pays off there. Nice play by Brunansky off that canvas. Action now in the bullpen. Roy Lee Jackson on the left, and Ron Davis, who has gone from the stopper to a middleman or a setup man now for the Twins. He has had trouble closing ball games, so Ray Miller said, okay, well, we'll try you in a different spot.
Gino Petralli is 1 for 2, and if that one's fair, he's 2 for 3. It is a fair ball. 2 runs will score. Ground rule double. Gino Petralli, 3 RBIs on the night for the Ranger catcher. Double, single, double, double, and just like that, it's 8-5.
What do we say about this being an interesting place to play? My goodness, you talk about things happening quickly. There have been 4 consecutive hits. This the 4th. Gino Petralli going after the first pitch. A fastball from Butcher out over the plate. Just about thigh high. Good looking swing there. Good extension by Gino Petralli. Ball caroming into foul territory after it hit and over the wall for the ground rule double. Paciorek and Hara scoring.
Well, you talk about rain outside. Lightning has struck quickly here inside. Petralli, the 4th of 4 straight hits. Rangers suddenly looking so aggressive at the plate. Some of them first pitch swinging against the right-hander Butcher.
I don't think Butcher's thrown more than 6 pitches in the inning, and all of a sudden he's given up 3 runs.
Yeah, it might be his final 6 as well. Ray Miller making the slow trek to the mound. Rangers 4 hits, 3 runs already here in the 6th. After Ricky Wright did a pretty good job of getting out of a jam in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, that's what you call having the wheels come off all of a sudden. Ron Butcher had done a very good job since coming in the 2nd inning. Only given up the 1 base hit.
Looks like he's calling to the bullpen. We have a pitching change. We'll take a timeout. Rangers suddenly lead by 3. Juan Davis is on for the Twins. Coming sidearm fastball. Curtis tried to bunt it, nothing doing. 18 out of 19 save opportunities last year, but this year has been a different story.
The opposition hitting .305 against Ron Davis, and that's about 200 points higher than you would expect for a guy that has this kind of stuff.
And an ERA of 9.15. Now, that was 18 of his last 19 save opportunities. In 85, he cashed in. And he finished the season with 14 saves in this ballpark. Davis is 6'4", 205 from Houston, lives in Minnesota now. Inside pitch, fair ball, right side. Herbeck will step on the bag as the runner goes over to 3rd. So Curtis did his job moving Gino Petralli over. 1 out. He's there with Gary Ward, the hitter.
Now let me get to a couple of these scores. Oakland at Cleveland. That's a 6-6 ball game now, bottom of the 8th inning. Ontiveros on for Oakland, and yet pitching for Cleveland, Lansford has hit his 6th home run of the year. The Yankees 6-1 over Detroit in the 6th inning. Tiger Stadium. Joe Niekro and now Carey on relief for Detroit. Mattingly and Sheridan have homered. Boston at Toronto, a 3-3 ball game, bottom of the 9th inning. Crawford and Eichhorn, the pitchers in that ball game now. Rice and Baylor hit back-to-back home runs in the 5th inning. We gave you that California-Chicago score, 5-2 in favor of the White Sox in the 6th. Seattle at Kansas City with that rain delay. Swift and Bankhead. Milwaukee has a 4-1 lead over Baltimore at County Stadium, Milwaukee, bottom of the 5th inning. Snell on relief for Baltimore. Wigman going for Milwaukee. Riles hit his 5th home run of the year for the Brewers.
That's the American League. It's 1-1 to Gary Ward, who's looking for his 3rd RBI of the night. On the bunt, it was the suicide. Runner has to return. Herbeck doubles him up. Gino had no chance to get back. A high pitch that Ward could only hope he could bunt away from everybody so they couldn't catch it, but Herbeck was Johnny on the spot.
Well, a great play by Kent Herbeck, making the off-balance throw, falling away from 3rd base right on the money to Gary Gaetti, and that takes care of the chance to get a 4-run inning.
Rangers settle for 3 on 4 hits and lead it 8-5. Interesting play, Buzz, to end the Rangers' 6th.
Now trying to get that 4-run lead. The suicide squeeze put on, and Gino Petralli caught in no man's land trying to retreat. But a great play by Kent Herbeck, taking that pop out in foul territory, and the throw back to Gaetti.
Buzz will get those National League scores for us quickly here in the 6th so we can get our scores back to the man they belong. He can update them.
That we will. Kirby Puckett coming in while he is Philadelphia at New York tonight. It is 4-3 Philadelphia. Bedrosian and Sisk on in relief for those 2 ball clubs. Carter has hit 2 home runs for the Mets. Chicago at Pittsburgh.
Kirby Puckett base hit. He's 2 for 4 on the night. Has now doubled and singled. Scored a run.
The Cubs and Pirates tonight. Pittsburgh 6-2. That ball game, top of the 9th inning. Frazier on a relief for Chicago. Win for Pittsburgh. Say has homered for the Cubs, and Bream for Pittsburgh. Montreal at St. Louis 3-1. Montreal bottom of the 7th inning. That's Tibbs and Porsche. Houston and San Diego underway on the West Coast. Houston put a 3 spot on the board in the 1st inning. San Diego batting in the bottom of the 1st. Nepper and Dravecki. Bass homered for the Astros. And later on, Cincinnati at Los Angeles. It will be Welsh and Honeycutt. Atlanta at San Francisco. Smith and Blue.
The hitter is Mickey Hatcher, who's 1 for 3. Breaking ball for a strike from Ricky Wright. The bullpen is busy. Dale Mahorsic up for the 3rd time this evening. Missing high and tight. Rangers lead 8-5 despite the fact they've been out hit 12-9. Rangers have 7 of their 8 hits. Seven of their 9 hits in just 2 innings. 3 of them coming in the 5-run 2nd, 4 of them coming in the 3-run 6th. There's Jeff Russell. It wasn't that bad, was it?
Just a little bit of self-preservation.
Bullpen coach is the only smart one. He's got his shin guards on down there. 1-2 is the count. Breaking ball. Ooh, didn't miss by much. An appeal to the first base umpire, Dan Morrison. Unsatisfied. 2-2 is the count. Mickey Hatcher trying to get on so that Herbeck would be the tying run. 3-2. Last thing the Rangers want to do now is put anybody on free of charge. By the way, numbers 3, 4, and 5 for the Rangers next inning. It'll be our Goodies home run jackpot inning in the 7th. What will the score be? Ricky Wright has issued his 2nd walk. The first man he walked was the first man he faced back in the 3rd. 2 on, no outs. Trouble brewing. Ken Herbeck is 12 for his last 18. His batting mark is up to 320. He has 2 hits tonight, an RBI, and he has scored a run, and he's hit the ball hard twice. He's on a tear. Ricky Wright, like to see him rip one right at Toby Harris. From the crowd. They were thinking 8-8 on that sweeping swing. There's a big target up in the upper deck in right field that says, "Put it here, Herbie," with a target on it. Base hit. Puckett will score. The other runner goes to 3rd. It's 8-6, and he's 3 for 4. Unstoppable, Kent Herbeck. Bobby Valentine with Bernansky, Gaetti coming up. We'll go to the right-hander, and we'll go to a commercial break. Rangers by 2. We'll be back from Minnesota. It is now an 8-7 ball game because of this fielder's choice ground ball, and Curtis Wilkerson made a fine play.
Very good play going to the hole and making the off-balance throw back to Hara. No chance to get Bernansky on the relay from Toby, but that was an outstanding play by Curtis Wilkerson, especially on artificial turf when you're up at double play depth. We mentioned your range is cut down, and that ball really scoots through.
Bernansky's RBI. Mahorsic, his 4th appearance for the Rangers. This one's down into the corner, and we may have a tie game. Here comes the relay. They will hold the runner. Gary Ward missed the cutoff man, Curtis Wilkerson, but it came into Paciorek. Runners at second and third and 2 outs. The 14th hit of the night for the Twins.
Well, Dale Mahorsic getting that pitch down and out over the plate, and Gaetti lining it past the diving Tom Paciorek into the corner. Gary Ward, who played here for a number of years, knows those corners and was able to get over there, play the ball well off of the carom, and get it back in quickly enough to prevent Bernansky from scoring.
Gaetti has tied a Minnesota team record with his 3rd double of the night. Pinch hitter for the Twins will be Mr. Bush, Randy, who played last night. Bush had a key hit, an RBI double in the 8th inning. That was their first run scored. Then he scored on a base hit by Herbeck to tie it. We owe you a station break. We'll do it after the first pitch. 8-7. Runners at second and third and 2 outs. In this, a 2-run, so far 6th. Base hit. Here comes Sierra's throw. They'll hold the runner. Want to correct one thing. There is 1 out here in the 6th, and it is now an 8-8 game. Dale Mahorsic being hit hard. So Bush off the bench with an RBI, and Bobby Valentine's headed to the mound once more. That was a fastball out over the plate, belt high.
Now the 3 hitters have gone up and seen 3 fastballs, and they've really jumped on all 3 of them from Dale Mahorsic. Bernansky grounded into a fielder's choice, but then Gaetti and Laudner double and single for the RBI. Oh, well, Bobby's talking to Dale Mahorsic. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Texas Rangers Baseball Network.
You're watching the Texas Rangers on KTVT Channel 11, Fort Worth, Dallas.
A base hit, a walk, and a base hit. Jeff Russell warming up because Mahorsic then gave up an RBI fielder's choice, a double, and an RBI single. 15 Minnesota hits, 8-8 the score. At third is Gary Gaetti. At first base is Randy Bush. Three Minnesota runs. Rangers got 3 in the top of the inning. Fastball low and in. Dale Mahorsic, up from Oklahoma City last week. He is a sinker ball pitcher, but we've seen some fastballs up. Two and 0. Lombardozzi is 2 for 2 with a walk. He has driven in a run. That one is at the knees. Dale is from Cleveland, Ohio. 6'3", 220. Turned 30 years old back in January. Mahorsic was 4-4 at Oklahoma City. In 16 games, a 2.39 ERA with 3 saves. Heap of trouble here. Lead run at third with 1 out. 3-2. Caught the outside corner.
That good hard sinker from Dale Mahorsek, just knee high and on the outside part of the plate for the strike, and it's 3-2.
Need another one just like it. Or the strikeout or the ground ball. Reaching and getting a piece of it with the runner Bush starting. By the way, the line is complete on Ricky Wright. 2 1/3 innings, 2 runs given up. On 6 hits, he walked 2 and struck out 2. Dale Mahorsek once pitched for a team called the Victoria Mussels. Not the kind, not the bicep kind, but the kind that swim. That was an A ball on the island of Victoria up there in British Columbia. And he said the only way to get back to the island after a night game on the road was by ferry. And if they had a long ball game and didn't make it in time, the team would have to sleep on the bus and wait for the morning ferry before they could go back to Victoria, where they played in a makeshift softball stadium. Life in the minor leagues, the lower minor leagues. 3-2. Fouled again. That was back in 1978. Went to the Toronto organization and bounced around there. Signed with the Pirates organization in 1980. Came to Oklahoma City in 85. This is Steve Lombardozzi, the second baseman. 3-2, 1 out. We'll do it again. .24 hits in the ball game. Almost as many hits as we had strikeouts last night. Total strikeouts in the ball game last evening in 10 innings. Mahorsek getting Bush back to the bag. That's Russell standing on the mound down in the bullpen. Well hit, but foul again. Jeff Russell, 4-1 in starting assignments with the 89ers. Last pitched over the weekend in Buffalo. Runner going off first. Fair ball, or did it hit the batter's foot? The fans on the third base side had no clue the ball had hit the batter, and they were up out of their seats when it squirted by Paciorek. Now they'll boo, but they really don't know what they're booing.
Third base umpire Al Clark immediately after this ball was hit, and he saw it bound off of Steve Lombardozzi's front foot, put his hands up in the air to signal timeout. The ball was dead, and of course the fans didn't recognize that very quickly, but it was an accurate call.
Only on AstroTurf would you see a ball hit a batter's foot and then go down to third base with that much velocity on it. Ooh, Pete O'Brien, nice play. Runner at third is Gaetti, just waiting for that ball to get away. He's the lead run here in the 6th. Lifted to the left side. Curtis has it. 2 outs. Well, that's a pretty good job of pitching by Dale Mahorsek. 3-2 count. Keeps throwing strikes. Hitter fouls off 4 or 5, and then he gets him on a weak pop-up.
Came back finally with the breaking ball on 3-2 and got Lombardozzi way out in front in a little weak pop-up.
Now he deals with a pinch hitter for Billy Beane. It'll be Roy Smalley. Smalley's hitting .259 with 10 homers and 24 RBIs. From the left side, 9 of those 10. Smalley has 1,299 career hits. Number 1,300 could drive this man home, Gaetti. Or an extra base hit could chase Bush to the plate as well. 2-0 at the knees. Charlie Huff against Alan Anderson tomorrow night. Anderson is just up from AAA. There's that sinker again, 2-2. It's a tough pitch to lay off, Buzz. I guess similar in concept to that old split-fingered fastball that is a strike, at least until you swing.
That's a very effective pitch for a right-hander against a left-hander if you spot the ball well, because the left-hander has a tendency on the pitch inside to give up on it. You have a chance to nip the inside corner, and the ball, of course, outside, moving down in a way, and very difficult to get underneath it and lift it in the air.
Here's the 2-2 runner starting off first. Alan Anderson was called up after last night's game. He's 22 years old. They sent left-hander Juan Augusto to the minors. Anderson was 2-5 for the Mud Hens. See him tomorrow night against the knuckleballer Charlie Huff, who's starting to warm things up. Runner going again. Base hit. Twins have the lead. Runners at first and third. It's a 4-run Minnesota inning, and the Twins lead it 9-8 on their 16th hit of the night, and their 4th of this inning, 5th of this inning.
Dale Mahorsic got the sinker a little bit up and right over the middle of the plate, and Roy Smalley lined it to right field for the RBI single.
Another pitching change. Bobby Valentine to the mound again, back with Minnesota on top by 1. Jeff Russell's first pitch of 86 with the Rangers is a strike to Greg Gagne. Russell made 13 starts for Texas last year and got hit pretty hard. 7.55 ERA. Was pitching pretty well at Oklahoma City when called upon. Because of Mike Mason's injury, he was 4-1 there. Said he didn't really expect to pitch tonight, Buzz, because he threw 145 pitches at Buffalo Saturday for the 89ers.
Could be a situation where this would be his normal day to throw in between starts. Bobby Valentine hoping to get a hitter or two out of him, get out of this situation now, and let someone else start the 7th inning.
He's looking quick so far, 1-2 to Gagne, who's 0 for 3. Jeff Russell is 6'3", 210 from Cincinnati. Broke in with the Reds organization. Pitched for the Reds in 83 and 84. Breaking ball fouled off. Russell was part of the Buddy Bell deal after the fact. Came to the Rangers last July, completing that deal. Up and down between Oklahoma City and Texas since then. Got him on the breaking ball. Russell comes on with a strikeout. So they touch Mohorsic for 2 runs after getting Ricky Wright for 2 runs in a very long 6th inning. On to the 7th we go. Twins have out-hit the Rangers 16-9 and lead it 9-8. Changes for the Twins in the 7th. Going to left field is Randy Bush. And the new catcher is the man who started last night, Jeff Reed. There's Bush, and there is Reed behind the plate. And as the Rangers come up in the 7th with Pete O'Brien leading off, it's our Goodies home run jackpot inning. $2,000 at stake this evening. If a Ranger can jack one out of here in the 7th, Pete O'Brien will be hitting for Harry French of Prairie Grove, Arkansas. A-F-R-E-N-C-H. Against Ron Davis. You don't think Pete would hit one out and tie us back up, would he? We'll find out.
I know he'd like to.
In a seesaw ball game, Davis works off the stretch. O'Brien takes a breaking ball low. By the way, I want to correct one thing. Mohorsic charged with 1 run. Ricky Wright giving up 3 runs in that inning. A man he left on base was retired at second, but on the fielder's choice, he is still charged with the man who reached and eventually scored. Pete O'Brien is 1 for 2 with a base hit and a walk. Hits it well to left field. Back to the wall. It's gone, and we're tied. And Harry French of Prairie Grove, Arkansas, has just won $2,000 in our Goodies home run jackpot. And this is the 2nd winner we've had this year, and both of them from the bat of Pete O'Brien. What a shot to the opposite field, Buzz.
Pete O'Brien making a whole bunch of people happy, and I know that Prairie Grove, Arkansas knows where to get lunch tomorrow afternoon. Look out, Harry, they're all going to be over. O'Brien going the opposite way with that Davis delivery and pounding it about 385 feet to straightaway left field. Brand new ball game once again.
Did that ball carry, or did it carry? My goodness. What a shot by O'Brien. It's 9-9. And the bullpen is busy as the right-hander Frank Pastore gets up. Well, sorry, folks, but the jackpot's over, at least for this evening. What do we go back to, $500 tomorrow night?
500.
Oh, we are not through for the night. We go right back to 500. And Odeby is hitting for Michael Wright of Oklahoma City. Sorry about that. I didn't know we could have more than 1 winner a night. I guess if they hit 3 or 4 in a row, they'll break the bank. Odeby has hit 8 this year. Tell you, hitting 2 or 3 in a row in this ballpark is nothing out of the ordinary. This one is foul, 1 and 2. Well, let's see. It was way back in Baltimore, I think, that Pete O'Brien won some money for one of our fans. Maybe that was in Toronto.
I think it was Toronto.
It was on Tuesday, April 22nd. Thelma Adolph of Sherman, Texas, won $800. And there's a strikeout. As Odeby is caught looking, he's 0 for 4. First strikeout for Ron Davis. And here, nearly 2 months later, Pete wins $2,000 for one of our fans from Prairie Grove, Arkansas. Now Ruben Sierra is hitting for John Irby, IRBY, of El Dorado, Arkansas. Yeah, they thought they were going to trick me, and I was going to say El Dorado. You know who's from El Dorado?
Who's
Lou Brock.
El Dorado, Arkansas, huh?
Yep. There's a shot, fair ball, left field corner. At least 2 for Ruben. Over to get it is Bush. And now he's going to go to third as Bush couldn't come up with the ball. Boy, what a night this is. It'll probably be a double and a Minnesota error, their second of the night.
Ruben Sierra just going out and slapping the ball down the left field line. A good job of hitting by the young man. And Randy Bush going over into the corner, trying to come up with the carom, has a trickle off the end of his glove. That's all Ruben needed to see, going around second base and into third, and that's a big play in this inning.
Double and an error. Minnesota's second boot of the night. And George Wright is hitting for Glenn Lowry of Mesquite, Texas. Rangers now have a chance to take the lead. 9-9, 27 hits in the game. That was number 11 for Texas. Boy, this is something. Dropped it below George's bat. 1-1. That homer by Pete O'Brien was the 4th this year, given up by Ron Davis. It was his 7th of the year and his 32nd RBI. Pete O'Brien has 3 RBIs this evening. I think we'll be waiting till the very last out, Buzz, to pick our true value player of the game tonight.
I think we better, yes.
Look out, George. Skipping the rope. It's 3-1.
You know, what I've seen of Ron Davis so far, that is just not the Ron Davis we are accustomed to seeing out in the mound. He's throwing an awful lot of breaking balls, and his fastball, for him, is very, very subpar.
Basically, he used to be Goose Gossage with glasses, right?
Exactly right. Can you imagine facing those two guys when they were with the Yankees? Davis would come in and set up Gossage. He'd come in the 6th or 7th and throw 95-mile-an-hour fastballs for a couple of innings.
On 3-1, George swings through it. You know, those hitters would probably get on the team bus on the way back to the hotel, and their hands would just be shaking. That would make you pretty uneasy.
Well, and the bad part is neither one of them exactly had pinpoint control. So you were never really sure that they were going to throw one right down the middle.
George gets a pass. First one issued by Ron Davis. Ray Miller is out of the dugout. And it looks like Davis will be history. Tell you, there's going to be a heck of a water bill here tonight for the pitchers taking showers. To the bullpen he goes. Davis is gone. We'll be back. It's 9-9. Please don't go away. The new pitcher for the Twins, their 4th of the night, Rangers have used 4, is right-hander Frank Pastore. A familiar name from his days in the National League with the Reds.
Pastore has done a good job coming in out of the bullpen. His first save against Kansas City the other day was the first save, as we mentioned, since way back in May 9th to be exact. This is his 14th appearance. He has a very fine 1.14 ERA, 2-0 mark. And he has become, for Ray Miller, the stopper. He's the only one down there, really, that has been able to come in and get the job done late in the ballgame. He's in a tough situation here against a veteran hitter in Tom Paciorek.
Runners at first and third with 1 out here in the 7th. Rangers have already scored a run on Pete O'Brien's homer. At third base is Ruben Sierra. George Wright is at first. And Tom Paciorek is batting for Joe F. Quick of Texarkana, Texas. In our Goodies home run jackpot with $500 at stake. After Harry of French of Prairie Grove, Arkansas won $2,000 on that homer by Pete O'Brien. By the way, all the scoring here was the first home run of this game and the first of the series here at the so-called Homer Dome.
Although we had a couple of close calls last night.
Yes, sir. And one tonight by Pete O'Brien that came very close to leaving the park. Tom Paciorek has not hit a homer this year. Tom has 6 RBIs. He scored 2 runs tonight after being hit by a pitch and after singling in the 6th. 1-2. Frank Pastore, 28 years old, released by the Cincinnati Reds early in April, picked up by the Twins on the 27th. Look out, Tom. Pastore's best season with Cincinnati was 1980 when he was 13-7.
Well, if it was not started before, this got Tom Paciorek's heart beating quickly.
Breaking ball down, could be 2. Oh, it's booted. And the Rangers take the lead 10-9 on a boot by the shortstop, Greg Gagne.
That is one of those balls on artificial turf that about the 3rd hop really comes up on you. You get the overspin. The ball off the bat of Paciorek had that overspin. And it's usually the 3rd hop. You count them here. That's 2. And the 3rd one. 3rd one came up and went off the heel of the glove of Gagne. Looked like a potential double play ball. But it was not to be. There's just not a whole lot you can do there. Anticipating is great, but boy, the reflexes just have to be so superb to be able to come up with that ball cleanly. It's almost impossible.
Now runners at first and second. The hitter is Toby Harrah. They have given an RBI.
Yeah.
Tom's 7th of the year, first of the night. Should have been an ending inning double play. There's a base hit to left. Will they send the runner, George Wright? They will. Here's the throw. It's way high. The other runners will all move up unless they get him at second. No. Toby is in safely, and it's 11-9. Aggressive coaching by Tim Foley at third. A base hit for Toby. 2nd RBI of the night. He takes 2nd on the throw.
And the ground ball through the left side, and Tim Foley had no intention of stopping George Wright coming around 3rd. They go ahead and take a shot, and the bad part about it was the throw from Randy Bush. Missed everybody, the cutoff men, and by the time it got to catcher Jeff Reed, Toby Harrah able to slide safely into second base, and that's giving the opposition an extra base when you don't need to.
Gino Petralli is batting for Mrs. W.A. Sears of Arlington in our Goodies home run jackpot. What a wacky inning this has been. Home run, double, and an error. Walk, shortstop error, base hit, and everybody moving up on the throw. Gino's had a good night. He's 2 for 3, has driven in 3 and scored a run. Been on base 3 times. Pastore low with the breaking ball, 2-0. That completes the line on Davis, who gave up 3 runs. Gino hits a fly ball to left center. That will be the 2nd out and should be deep enough. Here's Kirby Puckett's throw. They let it come through, and he's out. That was a heck of a throw by Kirby Puckett, Buzz, on a fly ball that normally would be deep enough to score the runner.
Kirby Puckett and Dwight Evans last year were voted by the managers as having the strongest throwing arms in the American League, and you get an idea why they feel that Puckett is in the same class with Dwight Evans. Perfect throw. Good tag by Jeff Reed for the double play.
Rangers pick up 3 runs and lose a man at the plate. 3 hits in the inning. 7th inning stretch time in Minnesota. Texas 11, Minnesota 9. Here's the defensive play of Kirby Puckett. We saw him jump up off the turf and get his footing. Tom Paciorek bearing down on the plate. Throw there in plenty of time. And the tag by the catcher, Jeff Reed. And wouldn't you know it, Kirby leads off the Minnesota 7. Puckett's 2 for 4 tonight. He scored 2 runs. This little guy can beat you in so many ways. Hitting against Jeff Russell for the first time. 28 hits in this game, 20 runs, 11 of them belonging to the visiting Rangers. And there's a strike on a breaking ball inside corner. Kirby Puckett is one of those guys who's just wired. Always moving around. Always looking around. Ready for action. Breaking ball in the dirt, 1-1. What a night. One pitch. Ran the fastball inside. Puckett, Hatcher, and Hrbek in the 7th. Jeff Russell. Fly ball, right field to the wall. And just having enough room is Ruben Sierra. He's got as nice a right field stroke as any right-handed hitter in baseball.
Well, he does, and it makes him so difficult to pitch to, because now that he's starting to pull the ball on occasion, you really don't have any place that you can say is a weakness for him. And he's so very strong, he fights off pitches that normally would be very difficult for anybody to handle, but that short, compact stroke is very effective.
Russell has retired the 2 he has faced, and now he's ahead of Mickey Hatcher, who is 1 for 3, scored 2 runs. 3 Minnesota errors have helped the Rangers tonight. Fly ball, center field, should be easy for George Wright. Mickey Mailer went 2 2/3. Ricky Wright went 2 1/3. Mahorsik went 2/3. And if everything works out okay, Russell would have to go 3 1/3 to nail this one down. Here's Hrbek, 3 for 4 tonight with 2 RBIs. One good thing about this situation, he can't tie the game. Even if he hits one to the upper deck, it's still 11-10. This one away. Hrbek is now 13 for his last 19 at-bats. A base hit here, and that would be a 700 clip over 20 at-bats. There's a good running fastball, 1-2. Ken Hrbek is a local boy. Went to Kennedy High School in Bloomington. That's why he's so good. He grew up right near the old ballpark down there. Probably spent some time over there. Had his best major league season in '84 when he hit .311 with 27 homers and 107 RBIs. He has 100 career home runs in the big leagues. In just over 4 seasons. 2-2. Russell took a little bit off, and Hrbek fouled it off his foot. Jeff Russell, with that 4-1 record at Oklahoma City, had a 3.95 ERA. I think Bobby would be happy if Russell could get the Rangers into the 8th, because he threw so many pitches on Saturday for Oklahoma City. in a ball game at Buffalo, better than 140 pitches. Bobby can get a performance like that out of him, he'd try to nail it down with either Williams or Harris, and it has to be those guys because nobody's left down there. That one running away, 3-2. Well, you don't want to walk him and then pitch to Brunansky, who is on deck representing the tying run. This one's out of here by a mile, but it's going foul. Three and two with 2 outs, the base is empty, bottom of the 7th. And there's the walk. First one issued by Russell. Only the third issued by Ranger pitching tonight. And here's Brunansky, who's 0 for 4. Challenging him with a fastball for a strike. Brunansky drove in a run with a fielder's choice grounder in the 6th and then later scored. Big Brew takes a fastball inside, 1-1. 2 relievers remaining in the Ranger bullpen. There's the right-hander, Greg Harris. Greg was touched for the winning hit last night, though not charged with the loss. Mitch Williams was. And that was a pretty good breaking ball, 1-2.
Good breaking ball right at the knees on the outside corner. Virtually unhittable for Tom Brunansky.
Jeff Russell from Cincinnati broke in with his hometown team in '83, where he was 4-5. Won 6 games for the Reds the following year, but lost 18. Left side, Curtis Wilkerson wants it. How about that? A scoreless inning. The walk, they leave a runner. The Twins have stranded 8. On to the 8th we go. Top of the order for the Rangers, who lead it 11-9. Thursday, June 19th is Minyard Decker Foods Night at Arlington Stadium. Stop by any Metroplex Minyard location. Pick up your complimentary tickets for the Rangers game. Yes, those are complimentary tickets. When the Oakland A's come in, courtesy of Minyards and the makers of the official hot dog of the Rangers, Decker Foods. Can't beat that deal. Rangers go on to Oakland and Anaheim before coming home to take on the Athletics or the A's. Here's Curtis Wilkerson, 1 for 4, leading off the 8th against Frank Pastore. Fly ball left side, playable for Bush. Eighth inning underway. Gary Ward is 1 for 4 with a run scored and 2 RBIs. Up high, Pete O'Brien and Gino Petralli have 3 runs batted in each this evening. Gino thought he was going to get a 4th last inning, flying to center. Here's Gaetti double pumping, and they got Ward by less than a step. Gary had a little trouble getting that ball out of his glove, and then he shot one over there.
He wanted to make sure that he knew that he had to make a quick release and a strong throw, and he had to make sure that he had a good grip on that ball. Otherwise, you uncork a throw with a bad grip, and it may end up 10 rows deep.
Here's Pete O'Brien, homering to lead off the 7th his last time. A rocket shot into the left field bleachers about 375 feet away. He really hit a cannon that got out of here in a hurry. The left fielder Bush could only turn around and hope for it to carry him off the glass. Off speed, 1-1. Well, 2 out of 3 Buzz with a walk tonight, 3 RBIs. Maybe this will be a turning point for Pete. Over the last couple of weeks, he's had a tough go of it.
And the kind of guy Pete is, too. He doesn't necessarily press a lot, but we saw him swinging a couple of pitches earlier tonight that were not typical Pete O'Brien swings.
Up the middle, looping liner. Will it be far enough? Yes, and O'Brien has his 3rd hit of the evening. Now he's been on base 4 times. This is the guy you have to feel for. There is no reason that Odobe should be in this ball game hurting like he is, but Bobby had to call on him in the first inning when Pete Incaviglia went out re-injuring his knuckle, and Odobe's 0 for 4, and he's really struggled having to run down the first baseline a couple of times.
You get a good idea there, too, about how difficult it is for Odobe to shift that weight onto the front foot. He virtually is a one-legged hitter right now.
I tell you what, though, the little guy will do everything he can to help the club. Two. That's a wild pitch, and moving on easily to second base is Pete O'Brien. That one bounced way out in front of the plate.
Jeff Reed with no chance there. Ball coming up and glancing off of his left shoulder. And Pete O'Brien, even with a big turn at second, stopping.
Runner at second, 2 outs in the 8th. Reds and Dodgers scoreless in the 6th. Welsh and Honeycutter hooking up this evening. Low, 2-2. Astros are putting one on San Diego out west 7-0 in the 7th. Nepper, Bill Doran is at a homer. What a great year for Texas baseball so far. High and away, 3-2. Astros starting tonight, 2 games up on the Giants, 4 on the Braves in the NL West. Odobe had a rip. Royals 5, Seattle 4. They're now in the 3rd of that rain-delayed game. Wilcox against Bankhead. Cleveland beat Oakland 8-7. Yet the winner. He's 3-0. That guy's been involved in a couple of decisions the last few nights. Rijo, the loser, 2-4. Odobe draws a walk. The first issued by Pastore, 2 on, 2 out. And Ruben Sierra, 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored, will be the hitter. Ruben got things going last inning after Pete O'Brien's homer by doubling to left and then advancing to third alertly on the error by Bush. Later scored. And mercifully, Bobby Valentine will send Scott Fletcher out to pinch run for Odobe here.
Scott Fletcher running for the foul. Fletcher running for the foul.
Scott is a good runner. He could score on a gapper here. I guess we've seen everything here at Buzz tonight except for a triple and an inside the park home run.
Yeah, I can't think of too much else we haven't seen.
Of course, we're not done yet. Brewers beat the Orioles tonight 6-3 behind Wegman. McGregor the loser. Ruben had a good cut. I tell you, the White Sox trailed at one point to California. Or rather, they were leading 3-0 and then went on to win it 7-3. So that helps the Ranger cause. They could be 4 up on the Angels with a win here. 1-2. In the ninth, Yankees leading at Detroit 6-3. Trying to nail it down with Righetti. Mattingly has hit a home run, his 11th. Wally Joyner of the A's is leading Mattingly in the All-Star voting. Could be the first time a rookie has been voted to start in the Classic. Ruben is gone, and so are the Rangers in the 8th. First strikeout for Frank Pastore. A hit and a walk, 2 left. Rangers have left a half dozen. Bottom of the 8th, 11-9. You've been wondering all night who that man is behind the plate sitting there. That's the PA announcer, Bob Casey, with his headset there. Somebody probably calling him from the press box saying, "Smile, you're on candid camera." He started as the PA announcer at the old Met Stadium in 1956 when they had AAA ball here and used to use a megaphone. A mile high off the bat of Gaetti, out of play. Now he's got the modern headset. Steve Buechele is playing third base for the Rangers. Coming in here in the 8th. Gaetti, 3 doubles tonight, tying a Minnesota team record. He's 3 for 4. He scored 3 times. And 2 is the count. Gaetti, Bush, and Lombardozzi in the 8th. Russell has gone an inning and a third so far, allowing just 1 walk and striking 1 out. Rangers are 13-12 on the road. Twins are 13-14 at home. Up the middle, but Toby Harrah had him played perfectly. Randy Bush makes his second appearance at the plate this evening. He singled, drove in a run in the 6th. Off the facing of the upper deck, left side. Rangers got 5 in the 2nd, 3 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th. Twins with 1 in the 2nd, 4 in the 3rd, 4 in the 6th. Count is 1-1 from Jeff Russell to Randy Bush. Texas 6 games over 500. Minnesota 11 under. Breaking ball outside, 2-2. That should be 2 bases to left field. Ball will squirt to the wall away from Gary Ward. And Bush is 2 for 2. They've got 4 hits out of that number 6 spot in the batting order tonight.
Well, Randy Bush doing a good job of hitting there. He got a pitch up and out over the plate, went right with it, and lined that into the corner down the left field line. You saw where the target was set by Gino Petralli. Wanted to come inside, and Jeff Russell had that fastball tail back out over the plate. And Randy Bush took advantage of that very quickly.
Minnesota has tied its season high with hit number 17. Now we do have as many hits tonight as we had strikeouts last night. Greg Harris starts to warm. 30 hits between the two clubs. Lombardozzi tonight, 2 for 3, has driven in a run, been on base 3 times. We owe you a station break. We'll do that momentarily. Chopper to the right side. Pete O'Brien wants this one for himself, plays the big hop and steps on the bag as the runner moves on to third. 2 outs, man there. We'll pause 5 seconds for our station identification. This is the Texas Rangers Baseball Network.
You're watching the Texas Rangers on KTVT Channel 11, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Bob Carpenter and Steve Busby on a long, very entertaining night of baseball here in Minnesota. Ball game about 3 hours and 22 minutes old. And the hitter is the catcher, Jeff Reed. Reed had an RBI base hit in the 6th. They had 2 men. Well, Smalley had the RBI base hit, and then Reed replaced him. So this is his first at bat, actually. So Ray Miller has had some production off the bench this evening. Reed's hitting .229 with a homer and 2 RBIs. Breaking ball on the corner. 30 hits, 20 singles, 9 doubles, no triples, 1 homer tonight. You know, this sounds like Joe's Bar and Grill against Mike's Supermarket in softball down at the corner on a Tuesday night.
Sunday afternoon beer league.
That's right. 1-2. Our stat man says there have been 17,000 pitches thrown tonight. I think he's exaggerating just a bit. Jeff Russell has looked good since coming in. 2 innings so far, 1 walk, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Man at third, 2 outs. Threw the bat at it, got a hit, and it's 11-10. Well, that's another thing we haven't seen until now.
Russell coming in with the breaking ball and right on the end of the bat. Jeff Reed, that is getting sawed off because he had about 2 inches of bat left in his hand when he got down to first base. And that's going to do it for Jeff Russell tonight.
Greg Harris is on. Russell really pitched pretty well. 2 innings of work, only 2 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 1. Is responsible for the man at first. Came on in the 6th. Rangers got 3 runs in the 7th, so he could be a winner. And it's up to Greg Harris.
Well, it's important for the Rangers and for Greg Harris that Greg come in and be able to shut down the Twins, because 3 times tonight the Rangers have had the lead. Twice they have relinquished it. And now they have a chance with an 11-10 lead here to get things done in the 8th inning and hopefully take care of it in the 9th. But this is not the kind of game that if you have the lead that often and end up losing the ball game, it can really take the wind out of your sails.
Greg Harris is appearing in his team-leading 28th ball game. He has 10 saves, 3-6, 3.12 ERA. In 43 and a third innings, Greg has struck out 33 and walked 16. The man with a big curveball. Now that he is in there, we will have a pinch hitter for Minnesota. They will bring in Andre David, a left-hander, to pinch hit. On June 29th of '84, in his first major league at-bat, on a 1-2 pitch from Jack Morris at Detroit, he hit a home run. One for 4 on the year, hitting .250. Andre is from Hollywood, California. At Toledo, hit .266 last year. 6 foot, 186 outfielder. Against Greg Harris, the Rangers' premier right-hander out of the bullpen. Breaking ball, yes. 31 hits in the game now, to go along with 21 runs. Fastball, he turned on it into the crowd, 0-2. $12,084 have really been entertained here this evening. And it's not over yet by a long shot. Rangers have Wright, Buechele, and Hera due up in the ninth. Big breaking ball, and he almost popped him up. David just got enough of it to get, actually got less of it and put it back over the screen. Had he gotten more of it, it would have been a pop-up because Harris had him fooled. The most runs ever scored here, 22. Milwaukee beat the Twins 13-9 back in '83. Only one round tripper hit in the Homer Dome this evening. They're going to have to turn out the lights to get this one over with. I'm not even sure the last out will do it. Fly ball to center, plenty of room for George Wright. Gary Ward comes over and calls him off it. And that's it for the Twins in the eighth. They get a run on 2 hits. They leave 1. They have stranded 11. Ninth inning coming up. Rangers lead it 11-10. As we go to the top of the ninth here at the Metrodome, the Twins have a new shortstop. He is Ron Washington on your left. The final bench player available to manager Ray Miller. Unless Keith Atherton, the pitcher, can play somewhere out there. Or Roy Lee Jackson. It's a night when the rosters have been utilized. The manager's done a lot of writing on the scorecard on the wall this evening. George Wright is 2 for 3. He scored 3 times. Pretty good outing for Jeff Russell. Gave up a run in 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Could be the winner. Breaking ball high and away.
2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 57 pitches.
Frank Pastore for the Twins. A fastball for a strike, 1-1. Astros are now winning 10-0 in the 8th. That scorecard looks like a road map.
A lot better looking than mine is, I'll tell you that.
Vida Blue pitching for the Giants tonight. They have a run lead over the Braves out west in the 6th. KC 5-4 in the 4th. leading the Mariners. And to left field, Bush grabs the looping liner from George Wright. Steve Buechele replaced Tom Paciorek at third base last inning and will have his first at bat of the night. Boo is hitting .255 with 8 homers and 18 RBIs. Steve is hitting .341 in his last 13 games, improving from .227 to .255. There's another hit for him. To the right center field. Gap cut off there by Brunansky, and Buechele is aboard here in the 9th. That is the 14th Ranger hit. Toby Harrah. Looks like Orlando Mercado's listening in to the local radio broadcast here. Guy's exhausted from warming up pitchers this evening. High chopper. Pastore wonders if it'll ever come down, and Toby is safe on the infield hit. And Harrah has 3 hits on the night.
About all Frank Pastore could have done on that was called for a fair catch and stop play. He had no chance. That's the most helpless feeling in the world. Ball bouncing right off the plate. And Toby just kind of sauntering on down to first base. One of the shorter base hits in Toby's career, I think.
3 for 5. Good night for Toby, who came in hitting .198. Another guy who's had a good night is Gino Petralli with 3 RBIs. There may be another one or two. That one is into the corner. At least one run will score. They will send Harrah around third. Gino's at second, and the Rangers lead 13-10. 5 RBIs for Gino Petralli. Came in hitting .200 with no ribbies. Gino's trying to keep his cool out there, but he's smiling inside, Buzz.
He was so excited when he rounded second base, he almost fell right down his hip pocket. Doing a good job there of taking that pitch away from him and lining it down the left field line. Boy, Gino has doubled to left, doubled to right, and singled to right. That's utilizing the entire ballpark. Well, Gino, quite an evening. And he's making the most of his opportunity to start this ball game tonight.
And remember, he almost had another RBI on a fly ball to center field when they gunned out Tom Paciorek at the plate. Gino has been on base 4 times. Buechele and Harrah scoring on it. I guess that breaks the record for runs in this ballpark, huh? 23 now.
That it does.
Roy Lee Jackson, the right-hander.
I can just imagine what's going through Roy Lee Jackson's mind right now. He says, please don't get me in this ball game. A 13-10 game in the 9th inning. I want no part of that.
Curtis Wilkerson is 1 for 5. Batting for the 6th time here in the night. Shot to the right side. Hrbek, what a stop. On to the pitcher. They drop the ball, and the runner is safe. Curtis's speed had a big influence on that play. What a nice play by Hrbek. Runner is on to third, by the way. They give him a hit.
An outstanding play here by Kent Hrbek. Diving as far as he could to his right, and then the underhand toss. That really is almost an impossible play. Pitcher and runner and ball getting there at the same time, and that's something you hope never happens, because that's when you get an injury. The throw, if it's a little bit high and you're stretched out like that and the runner comes right up your back, you're really in trouble as a pitcher. But fortunately, no injury situation there, and the base hit for Curtis.
Pitcher getting there at the same time with his runner. He doesn't have time to circle and then hit the bag at an angle. He's coming straight for the bag, and thus the collision course. And when he took his eye off the ball to look for the sack, that's when he dropped it. But Curtis had a hit anyway, and looks like Mr. Jackson will get in this ball game, Buzz.
Well, one of those ball games when, you know, it's 13-10. A lot of crazy things have happened tonight, and quite honestly, the Twins have made some of their own trouble with the 3 errors this evening. And you get a team on a roll. We saw this in Cleveland in the 19-2 ball game. When the Rangers get something going, and it's true for most ball clubs, it is pretty difficult to stop them. And right now, Ray Miller, knowing the explosiveness of his ball club offensively, says, all right, it's 13-10. We're only down by 3 runs. Let's see if we can stop them right here and give our club a chance to come back. And we've already put many runs on the board, 4 in each of 2 innings. So it's not over yet.
We'll be right back here tomorrow night at 7:30 Texas time. Charlie Hough will be looking for his 6th win of the year against only 2 losses. He will be opposed by the youngster just called up from Toledo, Alan Anderson. Hope he can join us. And then a reminder, we'll head for the West Coast on Thursday, a day off. We'll televise from Oakland Friday and Sunday. The Friday game at 9:30 Texas time and Sunday at 3 o'clock Texas time. Roy Lee Jackson making his 5th appearance of the year. No record, 3.18 ERA. He's pitched 11 innings so far, struck out 5, walked 2. Gary Ward will hit with runners at 1st and 3rd and 1 out. 2 runs in. Rangers lead it 13-10. They now have 17 hits to Minnesota's 18.
Most hits were recorded by both clubs in the first game. 42 wins in Oakland on April 27, 1980. That's 42 hits in the game.
Gary hits it high and far to center field. Way back there is Kirby Puckett. It'll be deep enough to score the run. Coming home is Gino Petrelli. Buechele scored ahead of him on the hit. And it's 14-10. Gary Ward getting his 3rd RBI of the night.
The Rangers certainly haven't played the big inning themselves this evening. 5 in the 2nd. 3 in the 6th, in the 7th, and now 3 in the 9th, and they're not finished yet.
Pete O'Brien's had a big night. 3 RBIs, his 7th homer of the year. Off-speed pitch, high and away. If you can believe this, we're still 7 hits away from the all-time 2-team record in Minnesota history. 42 hits in a ball game against Oakland. My goodness. 35 of them here. Pete O'Brien came in hitting .289, 0 for 16, and now he's 3 for 4 tonight. He has also walked. Pete's had a base hit to right, a homer to left, and a base hit up the middle. He's used the ballpark. O'Brien, well hit to right center, but Puckett has room. In the top of the 9th, Rangers get 3 runs on 4 hits. They leave 1. They've left 7. Bottom of the 9th, top of the order for the Twins, 14-10 Rangers. Bottom of the 9th in Minnesota, Kirby Puckett, Mickey Hatcher, Ken Herbeck. And you can bank on that because there's nobody else on the bench. And they wouldn't want to pinch hit for those guys anyway. He's telling his mom, well, Mom, they're not all this long. If you let me bring you back, we'll have a 2-hour and 15-minute pitcher's duel. I don't see how anybody could complain about this one, though. It has really been entertaining. Kirby Puckett is 2 for 5. He's thrown out a runner.
I can think of about 20 pitchers in this ballpark that would complain about it.
You know, they may be a little presumptuous in the press box here. There's a fly ball to left, but Gary Ward's coming in. He's got it. Puckett hit the ball well. They were giving the line on the Minnesota pitchers. Riley Jackson, pitcher of record right now, or at least the active pitcher, and they may not want to wrap up his stats too early because you never know. There might be a 10th inning. Biting my tongue, right? Mickey Hatcher is 1 for 4. He scored 2 runs. Greg Harris trying to nail it down for Jeff Russell. Out of play. Rangers would gain a game on California. White Sox helped out by beating them. Looks like the Chicago ball club is starting to come back. They had a weekend sweep of the A's. Up the middle, Gray couldn't reach up the glove it in time. Hatcher has his second hit. Ken Hrbek, unstoppable. Last night, 3 for 3 with 2 walks. Tonight, 3 for 4 with a walk, 2 RBIs. He has scored a run. He's got the batting mark up to 324. He's as hot as anybody in the league right now. Harris started him off with the fastball away. Greg is the 5th Texas pitcher. Minnesota has employed 5. Had a good rip. Grandfather pointing out some of the finer points of a 9th inning 14-10 ball game. Curtis Wilkerson is behind second base as they play the Hrbek shift. Fly ball short left center. Ward can't reach it. Gary knocks it down. The runner will go to third, as Hrbek is 4 for 5.
Well, we've talked about it a couple of times, and the most difficult play for an outfielder is when a guy, especially as strong as Kent Hrbek, takes a full swing and the ball off either the end of the bat or off the fist. It just does not go as far as you would think. And Gary Ward, by the time he picked up the distance the ball was going to travel, all he could do was come in and knock it down after the first hop.
And Gary did a pretty good job at that.
Did an excellent job. That ball very easily could have bounded over his head and been extra bases.
The key is having the experience to know when to give up on catching the ball in time so he can set up to knock it down. And a younger player might have tried to stay with the attempted catch longer, and then it would have been too late. Popped up. Right side off the bat of Bernansky. Pete O'Brien wants it. 2 outs. Twins need another runner before the tying run can come to the plate. And Gary Gaetti, who is 3 for 5 with 3 doubles and 3 runs scored, is the 2-out hope here for the home team. The G-Man, they flash on the scoreboard.
George Wright out there in center, turned around, took his hat off, bowed to the folks. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Breaking ball upstairs. Well, Bush showed us last night he has a lively bat. He's the on-deck hitter, and the Rangers would rather not see him get up there. Gaetti takes the breaking ball for a strike. Fastball. Fouled back and on a play. 1 strike away. from a hard-earned victory here tonight. Greg Harris has 10 saves. It's foul.
37 hits. Highest learning total hits both clubs.
24 runs, 37 hits. Through it all, the Rangers have not made an error this evening. Minnesota has booted 3. Breaking ball, and the game is over. Greg Harris, with his first strikeout, gets his 11th save of the year. 2 hits for the Twins in the 9th. They leave 2, and they strand 13. Rangers on a couple of touchdowns win it 14-10. Mitch Williams out to congratulate Greg Harris. Buzz and I will catch our breath and be back to wrap this one up in just a minute. True Value recognizes Gino Petralli as our player of the game this evening. Gino will receive for his 5 RBIs a $100 gift certificate from True Value hardware stores and home centers. They've got what it takes.
Well, unfortunately, the Rangers had what it took tonight, too, to scrape through. They had the lead 3 times, relinquished it twice, and came back in 3 big runs in the 9th inning. And that sealed the things for Greg Harris getting the save and Jeff Russell his first win.
A lot of hits in the ball game. Rangers win at 14-10. Russell the winner. He's 1-0. Davis the loser. He's 1-5. Harris the save. His 11th of the year in the Rangers. Pending the outcome of the Kansas City game, will be up by at least 3 games in the West and 4 over California when the smoke clears. The Royals in a rain-delayed game are playing Seattle at home this evening, and we'll wait and see what happens with that one a little bit later, but we hope you can join us back here tomorrow night. We'll be back over most of the Ranger Baseball Network at 7:30 when the Twins and the Rangers finish this series. It'll be Charlie Huff against Alan Anderson. The executive producer of Ranger Baseball is Phil Crow. Tonight's game was produced and directed by Dave Burchett. Our studio director was Paul McConnell. And now this is Bob Carpenter along with Steve Busby saying so long, Ranger fans, from Minnesota, where everybody got their money's worth this evening, and the Rangers came back with a 14-10 victory.